Dunigan went down with a knee sprain last week against Ottawa. And so for the second time in as many seasons, Sammy Garza gets the call. Garza must step forward and lead the Winnipeg offense in this game. He believes he can. More importantly, so do his teammates.
I just feel playing in the Grey Cup last year, it was really a great experience for me, and it just gave me a world of confidence coming into this year.
For the first time in his CFL career, David Archer was on the sidelines last week. Instead, it was Kerwin Bell's turn to take the heat. Archer's still not 100%, but he knows he has to play and play well if the Gold Miners are to have any chance tonight. Injuries aren't a reason for a leader to stay on the sidelines.
Sitting last week and watching the ball game was extremely difficult. I think if you're going to sit and watch a game, you go up and drink a beer. Otherwise, you want to be on the field. That's what I want to do.
And so it's Garza and the Blue Bombers against Archer and the Gold Miners tonight on TSN. Hi everybody, Peter Watts with you at Winnipeg Stadium. Sacramento Gold Miners lead the CFL in two dubious categories. They have committed a league-high 32 giveaways, and they have allowed a league-high 33 sacks. And both of those numbers have to improve tonight against a Winnipeg Blue Bomber club that has won 10 of 11 at home dating back to the start of last season and is on a 4-game tear right now. Even without Matt Dunigan, Sammy Garza leads a very potent Winnipeg attack into this game this evening. More on the story now. Here are Gord Miller and Jamie Bone.
All right, thanks very much, Peter. You know, just 4 weeks ago, the Sacramento Gold Miners were 3-1 and tied for first place in the CFL's West. That's when they ran into their buzzsaw August schedule when BC, Calgary, and Edmonton took turns spanking them around and putting up some big numbers on the scoreboard. It doesn't get any easier. Winnipeg tonight and then BC to open up September as the Sacramento schedule tough by anyone's imagination. Jamie Bone with me now. Jamie, Sacramento has a quarterback in David Archer who is certainly prolific. He's injured, but he plays tonight.
Well, I think Kay Stevenson doesn't have the luxury of wanting to rest David Archer because of that injury. They've lost 3 in a row. They've got to turn this losing tide around. They feel they have to do it with David Archer at quarterback.
Now, when you talk about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, quarterbacking is certainly a big part of the equation there as well. Matt Dunigan will be out at least another month with a knee injury. Sammy Garza steps in, but this is a case of a quarterback who has confidence in himself, and he's earned the confidence of his teammates.
And Gordy also has great experience. He's been around this league for 6 years. He's played in 44 games for Winnipeg, and last year at a critical stage in Winnipeg's season, he won 2 last regular season games and then 2 playoff games to get them into the Grey Cup. So he's a guy that's proven he can win with this football team.
Now, Sammy Garza is sick of hearing about the fact that he's Cal Murphy's son-in-law. He says he'd like to be known as a good starting quarterback in the CFL. He gets a chance to prove himself tonight. Peter?
All right, guys, we've got a gorgeous night for a football game. We got 2 teams anxious to get started. Let's not waste any more time. Kick the football. Let's watch.
All right, thanks, Peter. What's the difference, Jamie?
Oh, the difference tonight is Sacramento just cannot turn the ball over. This year they are minus 15 in giveaway takeaways. They've turned the ball over 32 times. They have to control the football and not give Winnipeg any opportunities in which to score on turnovers.
Set for the opening kickoff at Winnipeg Stadium, which last night was the latest stop on the Rolling Stones Voodoo Lounge Tour. They've cleaned it up just in time for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to take on the Sacramento Gold Miners. The Bombers have won 38 of their last 43 at home, including 10 of their last 11. Roman Anderson's kickoff is short and is taken on one hop by Blaze Bryant, who mishandles the football back at his 12, scoops it back up, and is forced out at about the 22-yard line. Starting lineups brought to you by Speedy Autoglass. Don't take a chance. Take your Autoglass repair and replacement needs to Speedy Autoglass. Sammy Garza takes over for the injured Matt Dunigan. Ironically enough, it was against Sacramento last year that Dunigan tore his Achilles tendon, and Garza stepped into the breach and took his team to the Grey Cup game. And now he'll go presumably from start to finish with Keith and McCant waiting in the wings if Garza can't go. 1st and 10 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers from their own 20-yard line. Bryant, alone back in the backfield, takes the handoff from Garza and gets not much as he picks his way across the 20-yard line. As the tackle is made in the play by Curtis Moore. Garza has Chris Johnstone, a CFL veteran, and Blaze Bryant joining him in the backfield. And the receiving core is excellent. Jamie Hall steps in for Alfred Jackson. Gerald Alphin and Gerald Wilcox are the men who get most of the work, and Jamie, the veteran offensive line.
Now you talk about experience. 50 years combined experience with these guys, but don't get out the rocking chairs just yet. These guys still have a lot of playing to do.
2nd and 9 for Garza. Looking to Jamie Holland, who makes the catch close to a first down as he's tackled right at about the 30-yard line. Stop made by Junior Robinson.
And Gore, that's going to be one of the keys tonight. Sammy Garza in the past is throwing the ball deep down the field. He's averaging about 20 yards per completion. Sacramento play a very soft coverage. They'll give you the underneath things. They're going to force Sammy Garza to drive the team down the field, so he's going to have to be very patient tonight.
They give Holland a gain of 11 yards, make it first down from the Winnipeg 32-yard line, just underway. And Garza to throw again. The wide receiver screen to Holland again. This time he gets about 4 yards. Knocked out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Again, the tackle made by Junior Robinson. For the Sacramento Gold Miners, Mark Ledbetter is the veteran. He's played every game the Sacramento Gold Miners have ever played. He's got Willie Fears, George Bethune, and Curtis Moore for a line that does not get a lot of quarterback sacks. Corian Freeman, a former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, is joined by Maurice Miller, the CFL's second leading tackler.
Defensive secondary, they don't get a lot of interceptions. The only guy that has one is Jason Wallace. He has 2, including that big one for a touchdown last week against Edmonton. Garza
swings it out of the backfield to Gerald Wilcox on the quick out. And Wilcox again close to another Winnipeg first down, and that reception gives Wilcox 47 on the season. He's now alone in top spot in the reception category, one ahead of Alan Pitts, who plays tomorrow night.
Well, you can see that the game plan that Cal Murphy's put together, he knows exactly how the way Sacramento play defense. Sammy Garza is showing great patience right now, taking what Sacramento are going to give them.
So Garza engineered a couple of first downs. This one to the 43-yard line. Now the fake to Blaze Bryant. He drops the football, and Curtis Moore jumps on it for Sacramento. So a little trickery by the Bombers, but it cost them as Curtis Moore was there to scoop up the ball that Blaze Bryant couldn't hold on to. We talk about Sacramento turnovers, but Winnipeg gives up the first big one.
Well, you know, it looks easy when you're handing the ball off, but there are actually 3 things about handing the ball. There's mesh, flow, and exchange, and you need all 3 in order for it to work. There you have a little bit of a mesh, but really no exchange and not very much flow either. It results in a turnover.
So Curtis Moore, the second-year player, gives his team excellent field position. First down Sacramento at the Winnipeg 38. And straight ahead is Troy Mills, who gets 3 or 4 yards for the Sacramento offense, led by quarterback David Archer, who missed a game last week. The first game he's missed as a Sacramento quarterback. Archer's got 1,900 yards passing this year, but the number that concerns him, 10 interceptions. And that's a number he wants to keep to a minimum. The gain was 4. They'll make it 2nd and 6. And Archer from the shotgun. Early movement. There are flags. And Archer may have a free play. Looking over the top. He has a man. Touchdown. Troy Mills. And we'll check the flag. But this should be a Sacramento touchdown. The first play after the fumble. And it is offside Winnipeg.
Offside, Winnipeg number 48, decline, touchdown.
Second play from scrimmage for the Sacramento Gold Miners, and it is David Archer to Troy Mills for the touchdown.
Winnipeg like to play a lot of man coverage, and Archer right now is looking to find out who is on Troy Mills. He gets a mismatch that he wants. Greg Clark, the inside linebacker, is covering it back. No way. Mills is just too fast for him, and Errol Brown can't get over to make the play.
So Troy Mills, with his 3rd receiving touchdown of the season for the Sacramento Gold Miners, has been one of their most dangerous receivers out of the backfield. And now the convert attempt from Roman Anderson, the only kicker in the league to miss a convert this year. Puts this one through and gives his team a 7-0 lead. Well, Jamie, we talked about turnovers being costly. How about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? They put the ball on the ground once, and 2 plays later, the Sacramento Gold Miners take the lead. It's 7-0. The Gold Miners lead the Blue Bombers. The CFL Live continues in a moment from Winnipeg. Well, you wouldn't know it by looking at him, but Kay Stevenson has to be happy. His team has run 2 offensive plays and taken a 7-0 lead in the football game. And talking to Cal Murphy yesterday, his major concern was his team perhaps being flat for this football game. His team had won 4 in a row coming in, but Murphy, dead scared his team might not have much of an edge to it. And right now, they're down early. Here's Norris Thomas from the 30 on the kickoff return. Thomas has some room, gets up near midfield to the 53-yard line. So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will have excellent field position thanks to Norris Thomas, who had only 3 kickoff returns coming into this game, but one of them was for a 97-yard touchdown. And so the second offensive possession for the Bombers will see great field position.
This is actually a great return. It's wedge return middle. And you know, when you have the speed of a Norris Thomas, you just want to take that ball straight up the field.
And that's the one thing the Bombers have been looking for years, speed on kick returns, because they haven't had it much. They spot the ball just shy of midfield. 1st and 10 for the Bombers. 3 receivers to the near side. That's where Garza's going. Looking for Jamie Holland. There's contact and flags. And I think they'll say that Jason Wallace got involved along the sidelines. There's also a flag in the Winnipeg offensive backfield. Holding is the initial indication on the one flag, and pass interference is likely to be the other. So Ross Perrier, tonight's referee, will sort things out.
Holding, Winnipeg number 24. Pass interference, Sacramento number 26. First down repeated.
Take a look for the hold. I believe they're calling it on Chris Johnstone, number 25. But again, Garza here misread the coverage a little bit. Jason Wallace is the zone player, is going short into the flat. It looked like the receiver was open, but in fact, Jason Wallace was expanding to that area.
So that play never happened. 1st and 10 again from just shy of midfield for Sammy Garza and the Blue Bombers, who trail 7-0. Again, 3 receivers to the near side, and again, Garza steps in, throws into double coverage. The ball is loose and almost intercepted. Corian Freeman, the ex-Bomber, had the ball for a moment, couldn't squeeze it as Garza went into an area of heavy traffic.
Well, vintage Winnipeg, they love to go with the throwback. They semi-roll one way, and then they try to find Wilcox in the backside. Gerald does a pretty good job going up and catching the ball, but look at Freeman come in, and now he tries to wrestle it away, juggles it a little bit, but incomplete pass. A lucky break for Winnipeg.
Brings up 2nd and 10, and now Sammy Garza goes back to the shotgun. Garza plenty of time, steps up, throws again into triple coverage, and the catch is made by Gerald Alphin. Well, Sammy Garza threaded the needle that time, hitting Alphin for a first down and a gain of 15 yards.
And that shows great patience on behalf of Garza, because Sacramento are playing a zone coverage, and you take a look going down the field, Gerald Alphin just finds the hole, and Garza puts it right on the money. You can see how all the Sacramento players converge on the ball, but a nicely executed play by Winnipeg.
First down just shy of the 40. Garza back to the air looking for Alphin. Has it for a moment. The ball bounces in the air. And again, Alphin well covered as both Jason Wallace and Junior Robinson were back there watching him.
Gerald Alphin comes into this game with 7 touchdowns. A nice move, but again, they're in zone coverage. See the corner come over here, Junior Robinson and also Jason Wallace put the squeeze on Gerald Alphin.
Yeah, Alphin comes into this game, nearly 1 in every 4 catches is for a touchdown. He came in with 30 catches, 7 of them for touchdowns. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Garza looking over the top for Jamie Holland. He again got tied up with Junior Robinson. Looks back for a flag, but there will not be one this time.
Now that's how Sacramento want Winnipeg to play. They want them to try to throw those home run balls like that, because you're playing right into Sacramento's hands doing that. They want to force Garza to chip away, and that's the structure of their defense. They are a catch-style defense where they give up a lot of yardage, but they think that you're going to break down offensively, and that's exactly what happened there.
Troy Westwood, a 65% field goal kicker this year. We'll try this from the 48. He's 4 of 8 between the 40 and 50-yard range, and his holder is the veteran punter, Bob Cameron. With a wind slightly in his face, Westwood from 48 yards out. Low driving kick that just clears the upright, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are on the board, but just barely. And Troy Westwood knows he might have got away with one there. The Bombers are on the board, trailing 7-3. We'll return to the CFL Live in just a moment. Our CFL coverage continues tomorrow night with the Calgary Stampeders at Skydome to take on the Toronto Argonauts. John Wells and Lee Pedersen will have the action at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Then Jamie and I will be at Taylor Field in Regina for the Ottawa Rough Riders against Saskatchewan at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. And the hits just keep on coming. Saturday, we've got Baltimore and Hamilton. 4 games from the CFL for you this week on TSN because CFL players are in absolutely no danger of going on strike at any time in the near future. David Archer struck for a touchdown on his team's first possession, and Archer brings his club out at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10, after Troy Westwood's field goal put the Bombers on the board. Empty backfield for Archer and 5 receivers to the near side. Archer rolling, has pressure, now ducks away from it and throws to Tony Hartgame, but the pass is over his head. And that's something we haven't seen much from Sacramento, is a 5 receiver look, especially the one side of the field. Here's the Winnipeg defense. Stan Mikowas, the veteran who returned a fumble for a touchdown in the Grey Cup game 10 years ago. Still playing for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and doing a good job, and always known for their excellent linebacking core. The Bombers are led by Paul Randolph.
It's a good group of secondary people led by Donald Smith, Eastern All-Star last year, as well as Bobby Evans. This is a good, solid group. They can play a lot of man coverage. 2nd and 10, Archer goes to the shotgun again. He's got 4 receivers to the near side. Archer waits, has time, and now goes down. Archer waited a little too long, and linebacker Greg Clark came in to get the sack. And that's been a big story of Sacramento this year. You know, their offensive line, we've talked about them, been much maligned. They've allowed 33 sacks this year. But David Archer doesn't help his cause very much. He holds on to the ball a lot. Too long. He eats it. He should throw it away. You see, he has plenty of time here. He's looking at primary, now secondary. Now he's looking for his 3rd person. There's no one open, but you just can't hold the ball that long back in the pocket and expect your offensive line to block that. Keep those people up for that amount of time.
And so Pete Gardere is back to punt from about his own 13-yard line. The Gold Miners' 3rd-string quarterback. It's a high spiraling kick away taken by Alan Boyko at his own 38-yard line. Boyko looking for some room, gets out to about the 45 before he's tackled by a wave of Sacramento Gold Miners. Just to finish the thought we mentioned earlier, you know, the Bombers for years have had good returners here. Paul Bennett was at one time the CFL's all-time leading punt returner. They had James Murphy, but they've never had a guy like a Gizmo Williams, Earl Winfield, a player who can break one instantly. Cal Murphy has talked about it for years, thinks maybe Nathaniel Bolton might be the guy to do it for them, but the search goes on for the Bombers, and it's been about 8 or 9 years.
Well, one thing about Nathaniel Bolton, he's very explosive, as you saw in the kickoff return that he had, so maybe he is the answer.
He's lined up at the top of your screen at wide receiver, 1st and 10 at the 46. Garza quickly out to the flat to Gerald Wilcox, but Wilcox is wrapped up very quickly on the play as the tackle's made by Sacramento's Jason Wallace, and it's a gain of 3 yards. They'll make it 2nd and 7.
Gerald Wilcox comes across the formation, then just goes out into the flat, but again, Sacramento playing that cautious zone, nothing fancy about it, and Jason Wallace comes up and makes the play. They're going to try and force Winnipeg to earn everything.
Flags are down at the line of scrimmage. Garza rolls to his right, scrambling, loses the football, still loose. Do the Gold Miners have it? It appears they do. There are flags down.
And Garza's hurt.
So Sammy Garza's down. It appears Sacramento has the ball, and what a disaster for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And Garza went down hard. Here's Ross Perrier.
Illegal procedure. Winnipeg, no end. Decline. 1st down.
And so now Keithan McCann will warm up quickly on the Winnipeg sidelines and get ready for the next Winnipeg possession.
Joshua's sister is waiting for him at the North End Security Office.
And Sammy Garza remains down near the Sacramento bench. What an awful turn of events for Winnipeg.
Really is an awful turn of events. You know, that was the case for Sammy Garza when he's rolling out. Sacramento had 6 defensive backs, and they brought in Doug Parrish, number 26. There was no one open in the sideline. They had Bolton covered too deep. Sammy Garza has to make a decision here, throw it away. But look, he just leaves himself wide open and takes a hellacious shot.
Hurley Brown, the linebacker, came up to make the initial hit. And I believe Corian Freeman got the ball before it bounced out of bounds.
And one thing about Hurley Brown, he's playing outside linebacker. He's only 6'1", 200 pounds, but he played strong safety in college at Miami. And you can tell he's used to coming up and making big cracks like that on people.
Well, that's the last thing the Winnipeg Blue Bombers need to see, especially when you look at this. Matt Dunnigan on crutches, still has that right knee immobilized, and Dunnigan will be out at least another 4 weeks. He'd like to be back in time for the second half of a home-and-home series with the Shreveport Pirates. Dunnigan, of course, played his football at Louisiana Tech. Would dearly love to be back for that one, but the ball will be in the hands of the man on the right, Keithan McCann, second-year player out of Nebraska, and he has not thrown a pass yet this year.
And I know Matt's just talking to him right now saying, hey, just go in there, relax. You know what the game plan is. You've been prepped this week. Just relax and go in there and have some fun.
Has not taken a snap in a CFL game. Well, you look at the injuries in the East to quarterbacks and how it dramatically changes things. You've got Dunnigan out. Now Garza, he may be down for some time. Tracy Ham's hurt in Baltimore. Now Garza gets up, but they've been checking that left knee.
And a disastrous thing for Winnipeg. They only dressed 2 quarterbacks for tonight's game. So if something happens to Keith and McCann, they're in big trouble.
Well, Bob Cameron has been Winnipeg's number 3 quarterback in the past. Cameron was a Heck Crichton Trophy winner at Acadia some, what was it, 18 years ago?
1976 or 77, I think it was.
Well, Garza's walking and putting some weight on that left leg, so we'll see if he's able to come back. But there's the number that tells the tale. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have turned it over twice, almost in the same area they did it last time, and that resulted in the first touchdown of the game. 7:29 to go here in Winnipeg. This crowd is very quiet, seeing the Winnipeg Blue Bombers struggle early against the Sacramento Gold Miners and hoping that this man can return. So the Gold Miners 1st and 10 from the Winnipeg 36. Again, 4 receivers to the near side. Pressure on Archer. Screen pass over the middle. Well executed, and Troy Mills loses the football. No whistle yet. Still loose. Rolling towards the out of bounds. Do they have it? It appears they do. Norris Thomas comes up with the football, and the Sacramento Gold Miners give it right back. So Troy Mills on the screen pass loses the handle, and Winnipeg gets a turnover right back.
Sacramento try to run the middle screen. Number 20, watch Troy Mills. Now he just gets the ball here, but a good job by Paul Randolph. Number 36, he comes across and strips the ball. You'll see Charlie Clemens in there. Now it's just a free-for-all. Everybody's trying to get the ball. Archer comes in, kicks it.
And so the ball goes into the hands of Keithan McCann, the 1991 Big 8 Offensive Player of the Year at Nebraska. This is his first CFL pass, picked off. Intercepted by Junior Robinson, and Keithan McCann will go right to the sidelines and go back to the drawing board. What a way to begin.
I don't know if I've ever seen 3 consecutive turnovers in 3 plays. It's incredible.
Well, we talked about turnovers being the difference. I can't decide for whom at this point. Poor Keithan McCann. You know, I remember Matt Dunnigan's first pass in a CFL game. It was a preseason game for Edmonton. It was picked off and returned for a touchdown. But this is the regular season, and Keithan McCann has a statistical hole to dig himself out of.
Well, they're trying to run the quick sprint, quick out, and Junior Robinson read it all the way.
So 1st and 10 for Sacramento from its own 52-yard line. Archer had some time, waits, throws over the middle, has a man open. It's Rod Harris, and Harris is in a foot race. It's a touchdown. Oh my goodness, Rod Harris gets in behind the coverage, and Sacramento again scores immediately after a Winnipeg turnover.
Well, when Sacramento acquired Tony Hargane, that allowed Sacramento to put Rod Harris, who was the wide receiver, at slot back. And usually when you're playing slot back, you're against defensive backs that aren't quite as fast. They have a match here with Harris against Darryl Sampson. Again, man coverage again. But this time they cannot get to the quarterback. Archer has plenty of time to throw the ball, and he picks a wide open Rod Harris for the touchdown.
12th passing touchdown of the season for David Archer. 6 of them have gone to Rod Harris. And again, Roman Anderson for the convert, and now this crowd is sullen. 6:05 to go in the first quarter. Sacramento leads it 14-3 as 2 Winnipeg turnovers have resulted in 2 Sacramento touchdowns. The CFL Live continues after this on TSN. Of Winnipeg quarterback Sammy Garza. Man, the Sacramento Gold Miners have been tough on Bomber quarterbacks over the years. Matt Dunnigan had his season ended against the Gold Miners last year, and this season Sammy Garza sent to the bench. Here's Norris Thomas on the kickoff return. Again, he's got room. He gets out across the 50. And Norris Thomas has turned in a couple of great kickoff returns. Actually, they spot his progress down to the 49-yard line. A 30-yard return. And so the Winnipeg offense will go back to work with Keithan McCann at quarterback.
Now, it's really critical now with Keithan McCann in the football game that Winnipeg, in terms of their offense, I know Mike Kelly is probably thinking this is their offensive coordinator. We have to give McCann some things where he can complete a couple of passes, start to gain some confidence so he can start to run this football team.
With that offensive line, why not run the ball? The Bombers can run the ball as well as anybody. Give McCann a chance to take some snaps and get some confidence. Here's Blaze Bryant on 1st and 10. And that time Sacramento stacks it up, a gain of 2 for Blaze Bryant as the tackle is made by Curtis Moore and a host of other Sacramento Gold Miners, including Maurice Miller, the middle linebacker, number 97. It's interesting that Chris Walby, the big tackle for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, has really advocated the Bombers to use the running game more. As happy as he was to see Matt Dunnigan rack up 713 passing yards in a game, Walby's a strong believer that the running game in the cold weather is a big key, and it will be here today. Here's McCann's second CFL pass. Tipped up in the air, almost picked off again. Junior Robinson had a chance for his second interception. This time it wouldn't have been his fault as Gerald Alphin kind of tipped it up in the air. So McCann still seeking his first CFL completion, goes back to the sidelines, and Junior Robinson is getting a lot of work out in the corner.
Well, Gerald Alpha makes a nice move here to work back to the quarterback. But those are the ones you have to squeeze.
And Keithan McCann finally gets his dream, and it's
goes like, what do I have to do? I put the ball on the money.
So the punt from Bob Cameron. Taken by Harper at his own 24-yard line. Flags are down, and so is Harper out to about the 30-yard line after a return of 7 yards on a 36-yard punt. And we've got a flag against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Illegal man downfield.
No yards. Winnipeg number 58, a 15-yard penalty.
Oof.
First down.
Well, that's even worse. So linebacker Greg Clark is called for no yards, the bad variety, tack on 15 yards, and suddenly Sacramento will go up to its own 39-yard line.
Oof. Boy, I tell you what, that's awful close. I don't know. I don't think he was moving into the area. I think that's just a call the officials should just wave it off.
That's splitting hairs, that.
Sure is.
1st and 10 for Sacramento from the 39. The Gold Miners leading 14-3. And here is Troy Mills, the man who fumbled a moment ago. He wraps it up tightly this time. And the tackle's made by Norris Thomas. Peter?
I just got the report from the Bomber training staff. It's a twisted left knee. They want the specialist to have a look at it. He tried to run on it a little bit, and he is not real happy with it, so he's going to the locker room to have it examined. Keithan McCann is the Bomber man for now.
And for how long would be the key question for Winnipeg fans. Gain of 3, make it 2nd and 7. Archer from the shotgun has 4 receivers to the near side. Flags are down. Archer throws for Rod Harris, but well over his head. And this time Archer managed to stay on his feet, but I think there's a good reason for that. There was some holding in the Sacramento offensive backfield. And Ross Perrier and company have been busy today. Ross, who came out of retirement to referee the CFL this season.
Holding. Sacramento number 52. Decline. 3rd down.
David Dazinfanti is called for the hold, and that's the reason David Archer didn't get smacked at the end of that play, as he quite often does in the Sacramento backfield. So in will come Pete Gardier to punt once again, and there haven't been many punts in this game. The defenses have been doing most of the work getting the ball back for the offense. Thomas and Boyko back deep for the Bombers. 3:44 to play in the first quarter, and a wild first quarter it's been. One that could dramatically change the fortunes of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for the weeks to come if Garza can't play.
Pete Gardier just called a timeout. He doesn't like what he sees, or there's not enough people on the field. That's what the case is. Troy Mills kind of daydreaming on the sidelines when he should be in the game.
And there's a guy you don't want to face when there aren't enough men on the field. Kay Stevenson would be what I would describe as old school.
And you can see Kay Stevenson chewing out some of his coaches right there. I think that's Bob Mattos, who's a special teams coach.
Tough first quarter for Troy Mills, who fumbled once and wasn't in when he was supposed to be on punt coverage. So after the timeout,
it'll be interesting to see here if Gardier tries to kick the ball away from Nathan Thomas.
Thomas has had 2 great kickoff returns.
He does.
Trying to angle it towards the sidelines, and it hops out at about the 28-yard line, and that's where Keithan McCann and the Winnipeg offense will take over. A 41-yard kick and no return on Gardier's punt.
And you know, you talked, Gord, a little bit of how Cal Murphy was really nervous coming into this game. The reason being, in the last 3 games, they've averaged 53 points per game on offense, and Sacramento's only averaged 12 games, or 12 points in their last 3 games. And I think Cal Murphy felt maybe his team might be a little bit overconfident coming into this game and might take Sacramento a bit too lightly.
So McCann, who has yet to complete a pass, takes over with his Bombers 1st and 10. He tosses it back to Blaze Bryant. Bryant picks his way through the line, gets up to about the 30 for a gain of 4. Well, Blaze Bryant may be seeing a lot more work in the near future.
Gain of 3 yards, 2nd and 7.
And you look at the Bomber numbers from the last 3 weeks, and they're absolutely spectacular what they've done. And look at Sacramento, just 36 points in 3 weeks. A lot of teams in the CFL are averaging 36 points a game. But you can bet the Winnipeg numbers will dip a little bit if their quarterbacking troubles aren't worked out. They mark a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 now. And McCann will try it again. He's got pressure, rolls back to his right, and he's got wide open field. And he's off and running. This is what he does best. And McCann dives out to the 50-yard line inside Sacramento territory. So Keithan McCann with a gain of 30 yards. Shows the kind of running proficiency he had in college at Nebraska when he rushed for over 600 yards and 9 touchdowns.
And this is great discipline by a young quarterback, Keithan McCann. Nothing is there. He's not going to force it. Now he turns back to see a receiver, but now he gets outside of contain. Now he said, I'm just going to run with it. I'm just going to take it. It's a nice, solid run. Puts his head down. I'm sure Cal Murphy's heart's in his throat, though, every time he sees Keithan McCann run the ball.
1st and 10, flags are down. McCann back to throw once more. He's got happy feet back there. Finally throws a kind of sidearm, and it's picked off. Intercepted by Jason Wallace, who makes the diving catch. Now we'll check and see what the flag's all about. And no one's watching more than Keithan McCann, and he doesn't get a break.
You know, Justin, we were saying that he showed great poise in the last play. Now he comes up and forces something that's not there.
Illegal procedure. Winnipeg number 57, declined, 1st down.
Like, you know it's a long road to the Hall of Fame, but Keithan McCann is thinking, just how long can this road be?
And you know, the thing is, he comes in there and he wants to make some things happen, of course, and gets his chance to play, and sometimes you end up forcing the play. Again, he goes to primary, no one's open, now he comes back, and you know, he just kind of slings it sidearm, and Junior Robinson comes up with a great interception.
Gives the Sacramento Gold Miners a 1st down at their own 37-yard line. Minute and a half to play in the opening quarter. Archer on the play action, and he is dropped. Lloyd Lewis, the 10-year veteran, drops Sacramento's David Archer and gets a loss of 6.
A loss of 6 yards on the play.
And that old nemesis comes back to haunt the Sacramento Gold Miners.
Well, David Archer at the top of your screen, if you take a look at the receiver, it's like a hook and go, and he's trying to throw it deep. But you can see Lewis gets in there and just nails him from the backside.
And Archer came out of that limping a little bit. Going before the game, I'm 32 years old. I feel like I'm 52.
He's one of the toughest guys you'll see in the CFL. I mean, this guy's taking a pounding week in and week out, and he continues to play.
On 2nd and 16, this is Archer from the shotgun. 4-man rush for the Bombers. Archer with time, and it's well over the head of the intended receiver as he was going over the top, and nobody home.
And you see David Archer when he's running off, he's yelling to Tony Hargane, hey, Tony, that's my fault. Don't worry, you ran a good route. I just overthrew you.
So Pete Gardier back to punt.
Pete Gardier also listed as a 3rd quarterback in Sacramento.
The all-time leading passer for the Texas Longhorns, who must pass the ball at least 5 or 6 times a year. Flags are down as Gardier went down late. Here's Boyko on the return. And Boyko reversing his field won't find much on the other side either. Gets nothing as the tackle is made on the play by Sacramento's Tom Gerhardt. We'll see what the flag's about. It must be roughing the kicker. And if that's the case, Sacramento now, if that's a 15-yard penalty, that wouldn't give Sacramento a 1st down, but it may be an automatic 1st down.
It is. Kelly Rush, number 90 for Winnipeg, comes in and does not touch the ball. Runs into Pete Gardier.
Kenny Wilhite is the injured Sacramento gold miner, and I don't think he wants to stay out long with the way interceptions are coming. Guys can have career nights here tonight. Here's Ross with the call.
Contacting the kicker. Winnipeg declined. First down.
They got a break there. It's only contacting the kicker, which is only a 5-yard penalty. Well, that's close. But, you know, first of all, take a look at Kelly Rush coming in there. You cannot block a kick straight on. You have to go to the side, and you have to go to where the mesh point is, of where the ball leaves the kicker's foot. See, Wilhite is being helped off the field.
Keith and McCann's teammates in college at Nebraska. So Wilhite limps his way off the field as the Bombers take over 1st and 10 from their own 39-yard line. And Mike Roach, the defensive coach for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, talking it over with his charges on the sidelines.
Charlie, Elvin, that running back likes to stay up, right? Fight for yards, strip the ball. Talk about it. Strip the ball.
So McCann on 1st down from the 39. Back to the air he goes. And Jamie Holland hauls it in for a 1st down, a gain of 11 yards. And there's Keith and McCann's first CFL completion. And it receives a warm round of applause from the fans here in Winnipeg. It also brings an end to the opening quarter. Not much for these folks to cheer about so far. It's Sacramento 14, Winnipeg 3 after 15 minutes in Winnipeg. Back in Winnipeg, where Matt Dunnigan's hurt, Sammy Garza's hurt, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers' fortunes rest in the hands tonight of a man who came into this game without ever having taken a snap in a CFL game. Keith and McCann directs the Winnipeg offense, and although Sacramento has only 2 first downs in the football game, the Gold Miners have taken advantage of a pair of Winnipeg Blue Bomber turnovers, scored a pair of touchdowns, lead 14-3 as we open the 2nd quarter. And it's 1st and 10 Winnipeg from the Bomber 50. McCann to the short side and gets it out there to Gerald Alford, who hauls it in quickly for a gain of what looks to be about 4.
I love what the Winnipeg offensive line do in their short sprint series. They all move to the play side gap to make sure that nobody gets pressure in front of the quarterback. It's a nice job. Watch Miles. Well, you can't see him in your screen, but Gerald Alford does a little out here. But they give good protection for Keith and McCann, and he puts the ball right in the money. We don't see a lot of CFL teams. There's the offensive line right there. Big Chris Walby, 325 pounds, or so he says.
Here's a little shovel pass ahead to Blaze Bryan. Bryan's got some room. He gets into Sacramento territory across the 40 to the Sacramento 39. So the shovel pass, the lost art. And it gives the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a much-needed 1st down. Peter?
The word from the Winnipeg Blue Bomber bench is that Keith and McCann is their man for the night. It is a twisted left knee, and Sammy Garza will not play any farther. So the young man has got 3 quarters of football to really establish himself in this league and try and lead his team back from this 14-3 deficit.
Blaze Bryan's gain was 18 yards. It gives Winnipeg a 1st down at the Sacramento 39. Here's McCann, a long throw to Nathaniel Bolton, and Bolton gets drilled just as he makes the catch by Doug Parrish. And Bolton just knows when that ball hangs in the air forever that he's going to take a smack.
And you know, the risk-reward ratio on a throw of this kind is not in the offense's favor. I mean, to gain 3 yards by throwing the ball 50. And I don't like those odds.
We saw last week in Baltimore, Reggie Slack throwing up like this. They got picked off for what turned out to snuff out the Argo hopes.
It's a tough one. Take one for the team.
McCann on 2nd and about 6. Got a man wide open. Gerald Wilcox down to about the 7-yard line. Tackle made by Doug Parrish. So Keith and McCann is suddenly on a roll. Peter?
Oh, Nathaniel Bolton caught his first pass since heart problems forced him out of the game last October. It's a wonderful story to see him back and playing. This is his first game back on the field since last October the 15th. And he got a warm reception from the crowd for a 4-yard gain. Good for both Bolton and for Keith and McCann, who now has 2 or 3 completions and a bit of a drive going.
And that last completion to Gerald Wilcox covered 29 yards. 1st and goal, Winnipeg from the Sacramento 8. McCann throws it out there. He's got Wilcox, and Wilcox has a touchdown. Gerald Wilcox. And Matt Dunnigan leads the cheers on the Winnipeg sideline as the Bombers get their first touchdown. So the 29-yard gain to Wilcox sets up his 7-yard touchdown, and Keithan McCant has thrown his first CFL touchdown pass.
Well, when you get inside of the 10-yard line, everybody's going to be playing man coverage. You see Wilcox comes across the formation now. The inside linebacker, Hurley Brown, is man coverage on Wilcox. No way. Even though he was a strong safety and now he's a linebacker, he just can't keep up with Gerald. And a very nice, excuse me, Gord, a very nice throw by McCant because he put it outside and let Gerald Wilcox go to it.
6th receiving touchdown of the season for Gerald Wilcox. Troy Westwood adds the convert. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have cut the Sacramento lead to 4 with 12:45 to play now in the second quarter. Peter mentioned Nathaniel Bolton a moment ago, and Bolton overcomes a bad hamstring to get back in the starting lineup, and the Bombers need him badly.
To be with you again, I'd walk around the world. There's nothing that I wouldn't do. You had to leave for me to realize I need to see your smile.
Accepted in twice as many places as American Express. Visa, it's the only card you need.
He may be reduced to a cheerleading role, but few can offer the kind of veteran advice that a Matt Dunnigan can. And Dunnigan talking to Keithan McCant, advising him on some of the things he's seeing and some of the things McCant should be seeing. But you look at the injuries the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have. David Williams out for the season with an Achilles tear. You've got Matt Dunnigan out for at least a month. You've got Sammy Garza out tonight, and who knows how long. They're saying now he'll be evaluated in a couple of days. That could be 3 to 4 weeks. The Bombers are in first place, and they have been devastated by injury. But when you got a guy like Gerald Wilcox in the lineup, it sure helps. You know, Wilcox comes into this game with 46 receptions. He's added to that now. He's on pace for a 138-catch season, which would shatter the record set by Alan Pitts, who, by the way, is also on pace to break his own record.
I think if he also continued that pace in terms of yardage, I think he'd be over 2,000 yards.
So would Pitts. And Terry Greer's record, which has stood for so long, would finally fall. Westwood to kick it off to the Sacramento Gold Miners. And back deep for them is Charles Miles from the 5. Flags are down, and Miles is dropped at about the 26-yard line after a return of 21 yards. Despite the 14 points, the Sacramento offense has had trouble getting things going here. 2 big plays have accounted for both touchdowns, and now David Archer will try to put a drive together. We'll see from where. It's an illegal block, so Sacramento will move back.
Illegal block, Sacramento number 94, first down.
So back go Archer and the Gold Miners. And Archer 2 of 5 tonight so far, but look at that, 2 completions for 92 yards. It's not a bad average.
It's a great average.
Keithan McCant's average will get a little better after the 6-play, 71-yard drive that's capped off by Wilcox's 8-yard touchdown reception. And the penalty moves the Gold Miners all the way back to their own 10-yard line, where they'll start 1st and 10. Archer quickly throw. Trey Everett can't squeeze it, and that's been a problem for Sacramento all season. The stat isn't kept, but unofficially the Sacramento Gold Miners say they've had 31 catchable balls dropped this season.
And that's killed them, Gord. That's really been one of their big problems. You know, David Archer comes out and puts the ball right on the money. Yeah, the receivers can't hold on to them. They have to catch the football. There's no question about that. That's a given.
David Archer's had all kinds of different receivers. 12 different Sacramento Gold Miners have caught passes this season. He's just trying to get some receivers he can get to know. 4 receivers to the top of your screen. Archer on his own goal line. Swings it out. Rod Harris has it. Dives to close to the 20-yard line, which is where he had to get, but I believe he'll be a little short of the first down. So Harris stays in for a moment and then turns out to be almost the safety valve receiver.
Well, Harris starts on the left side and then comes all the way across. Again, you can see man coverage. Nice catch, knifes up the field. Daryl Sampson has to come in and make the tackle. Whether or not he stopped him short, looks like. See Rod Harris, he's saying, I've got it.
he's just short. Archer says receivers always say they got the first down.
Or he's going, Kamash, it's a millimeter away.
Well, no, inches, because he's an American.
That's right.
When you're a U.S.-based team, you don't have to have a designated import, and everything's inches and feet.
That's right.
So it's 3rd and inches, and this should be easy pickings for the Sacramento Gold Miners. If it's not, you've got a big story. Sacramento has shown at times a habit of running plays deep in the backfield on 3rd and short. Normally, you just want to see the quarterback go straight ahead.
Absolutely. That should be the rule. Anything less than a yard, the quarterback carries, and that's what David Archer does.
So Archer dives straight ahead. We talked about the fact that Archer's playing hurt here. At first glance, it doesn't appear to be a serious injury. He had the nail ripped off his index finger. He dislocated his middle finger. That's on his passing hand. And Archer was saying before the game that his index finger is the last thing that touches the football. It gives you the touch on the ball. And when his fingernail was ripped off, it caused him an immense amount of pain. First quarter stats, just 2 first downs for the Gold Miners, but 92 yards passing. And look at the turnovers, 4 by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That'll drive Cal Murphy around the bend. So it is a first down for the Gold Miners just across their own 20 with 11 minutes to play in the second quarter. Archer hands it off. The carry goes to Troy Mills, and Mills gets about 4. And Dunnigan continues his conversation with Keith and McCann. A little gray hair starting to appear in Matt's longish locks.
He's been through a lot of wars in the CFL.
He and David Archer know a thing or two about pain. From the shotgun, Archer on 2nd down almost has it picked off as diving in to break up the play was Winnipeg linebacker Kelvin Smith. There is a flag down in the Sacramento backfield.
Holding, Sacramento number 62, declined, 3rd down.
And it'll bring up a punting situation for Winnipeg. Kelvin Smith, one of 5 players from Florida State playing in this game, so they can have a Seminole reunion after this.
John Buddenberg, left tackle. I mean, anytime you get that hand up around the neck in front of the official, Paul Randolph, looked like getting mugged.
Yes, cutting off circulation to someone's head is still against the rules.
And the law.
So Pete Gardere back for his 4th punt of the football game as the sun sets on Winnipeg. Beautiful night here in southern Manitoba. Gardere gets a tumbling punt away. Boyko from his own side of midfield heads straight ahead and gets down to the Sacramento 45, a 38-yard punt, a return of 13.
And you know, something as simple like that, but Boyko does a great job of returning that punt. Just takes it right up the field.
So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a chance to take the lead. We'll see how they do when we come back. Winnipeg Stadium, where last night the Rolling Stones Voodoo Lounge Tour stopped in. They're still clearing up the wreckage from that, and they got it off just in time for the Blue Bombers to take on the Sacramento Gold Miners. And this week I lived long enough to hear Cal Murphy, the coach and general manager of the Bombers, talk about the difference between Pink Floyd tearing down after a concert and the Rolling Stones. Cal, who likely didn't go to either show, was talking about the logistics of stage managing for Pink Floyd and the Stones.
Well, you think of the age of Cal Murphy, I think he's the same age as some of the Rolling Stones, so they're of his era.
Cal's waiting for Ann Murray to come to town. Here's a shovel pass to Blaze Bryant from McCann. Again, it doesn't work nearly as well this time, as he's dropped for a loss of a couple at the 47-yard line. And the tackle is made quickly by George Bethune, rookie out of Alabama.
And you know, you take a look at Sacramento's defense, they play control style. Watch, they don't penetrate. They just wait. They wait and they control, then they flow to the ball. This is a team that's very difficult to trap against. As we talked about earlier, they play a catching style. They let the offensive man into them, but then they try to control them and then flow to the ball. Winnipeg, on the other hand, are an aggressive, come-after-you defense.
Marking as a loss of 1. It's 2nd and 11. And McCann, pressure early now, throws deep to the other side to Nathaniel Bolton, and the pass drops well short as Malcolm Frank was there to provide the coverage. And so Keith and McCann will head back to the sidelines for some more advice from Matt Dunnigan and company. But McCann, you've got to feel bad for him in this situation. Here's a guy who has yet to throw a pass in the CFL. Most of the time when a guy takes his first snap in that situation, it's at garbage time. His team's well ahead or well behind. Now Troy Westwood will come on to try the field goal. This one will come from 53 yards out, and Westwood has not attempted a field goal yet this year from 50 yards or longer. His longest of the season is 46.
Well, he's got the wind at his back. He just barely made the 48-yarder earlier.
That was into the wind. Let's see what he does with the breeze at his back. Bob Cameron to hold. Westwood gets plenty on it and puts it through. So Troy Westwood hits from 53 yards out, and Winnipeg has cut Sacramento's lead to 1. So Troy Westwood from tiny Augustana University makes his second field goal. And Westwood, who had a great year last year, making 80% of his field goal tries, had been struggling for a bit. He was 65% coming into this game, but he's 2 for 2 tonight.
I mean, for a little guy, you couldn't even see him kick the ball there behind all those offensive linemen. He really gets the ball, gets his foot into the ball.
You know, Cal Murphy told me one time they had to get a short field goal kicker because they wanted to give him Trevor Kennard's equipment. they didn't want to make up new equipment for kickers, so they had to get one under about 5'7".
That's Cal.
The Gold Miners take over 1st and 10 from their own 35, and David Archer goes right to the shotgun with 8:45 to play in the second quarter, and his lead down to 1. Archer, long pass out here to Trey Everett, who makes a nice diving catch for the first down after a gain of about 13 yards.
And that was a perfect throw by David Archer. Before Trey Everett had even turned, the ball was in the air, and when Everett turned, it's pretty good coverage. Archer now is looking at Everett. Now the ball's in the air, and Everett's still running his route. Now he turns. There's good coverage there, but he pulls him back to the ball. Nice job by David Archer.
And Archer again from the shotgun. As time steps up, throws over the middle, has a man, and completes it there. Archer finds Tony Hargane for another first down, and Sacramento goes to its hurry-up offense, trying to maybe take some of the edge out of those Winnipeg pass rushers. Gain there was 25 yards, another first down for Sacramento, this time down to the Winnipeg 37-yard line. And Archer right back to the shotgun, the hurry-up offense. Looking over the top for Hargane, and Hargane got his feet tangled up with defensive back Kim Phillips, and you see David Archer gesturing, break that crisply to the sideline, which Hargane had difficulty doing.
Well, a bit of miscommunication there. I think Archer thought he was going to be doing a 45-degree angle out, and instead Hargane cut square out. The ball went over his head.
Kind of ran a banana run. I used to get in trouble for running those all the time, which is why I'm up here. That's always the receiver's fault when you're a quarterback.
Always, always.
2nd and 10 for Sacramento from the Winnipeg 38. Early movement, flags are down, and Archer throwing to the sidelines over the head of the intended receiver and picked off by Donald Smith. But I think this will be offside against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We'll see how they rule it. Kelly Rush got an early jump, and we'll see if that's how referee Ross Perrier and company see it. It is offside Winnipeg.
Offside, Winnipeg.
Costly penalty. Look at the top of your screen. I think it's Charlie Clemens, number 48, comes across.
So the interception by Donald Smith is wiped out, and another Florida State Seminole in his rookie year. So it's 2nd and 5. Archer now from the shotgun again. Has a man over the middle, throws it up top, and Rod Harris can't squeeze it. Coverage provided by Bobby Evans. Peter?
Guys, I don't think anybody should be surprised by the hurry-up offense. We suspected we might see some of that from the Sacramento Gold Miners. What is a surprise, to me at least, is that David Archer is using the shotgun formation much more than we expected. He told me yesterday that it was not in their game plan to use it nearly as often as he would like. And given the pounding that he's taken, either Kay Stevenson has had a change of heart, or there's been some frantic shuffling of the game plan in the last 24 hours.
I think when your quarterback gets hurt, too, that maybe changes your game plan somewhat. They've got to protect this guy.
They have to.
Roman Anderson, field goal attempt from 39 yards out. That was tipped, I believe, at the line. It goes wide to the right, and will Boyko bring it out? I don't think so. Gives up the single, and so Sacramento extends its lead to a pair as Roman Anderson misses that attempt. And so Sacramento now has a 2-point cushion, and we'll return to Winnipeg in just a moment.
David Archer sitting on the bench. That's where he was last week in the Edmonton game. He did not play for the first time in 42 games dating back to his last year with the Sacramento Surge of the old World League of American Football, and he didn't like sitting on the bench last week.
And I didn't get a chance to line up for the team last week, and that was difficult for me in the fact that I felt like I was that constant for them, that they could hang their hat on. Whether certain guys didn't play or did play, they could hang their hat on Dave Archer playing for them, and I didn't get a chance to play last week because of doctor's orders. If it had been me, I'd have just shrugged off the stiff neck and I'd have gone in and played, but they advised me that there was a better situation to sit out. I did. I'm ready to go this week.
Keith McCann's pass is behind the intended target, Jamie Holland. Just to finish the thought on Archer, here's a guy who last season attempted 701 passes. That's more than he'd tried in his previous 7 years of pro football combined.
Well, the other thing I'm listening to him, he didn't even mention his throwing hand finger that was dislocated. I mean, I thought that would be the harder or the worse injury. He's a tough one.
2nd and 10 for the Blue Bombers from their own 35. It's 15-13, Sacramento leading. McCann, as time goes over to the top for Alphin, and just out of his reach as Alphin got ahead of defensive back Jason Wallace, but he was open for just a millisecond.
And you know, that's a ball that I think with experience Keith McCann will throw a little bit differently. He has to put air underneath that football. That ball is thrown right in a line, and it doesn't give the receiver, Jared Alphin, any chance to adjust to the football at all.
I remember watching McCann warm up once, and Matt Dunnigan said, this guy has the strongest arm I've ever seen. He could throw through buildings. Bob Cameron, a veteran, turned 40 last month. Sorry, Bob. Back to punt, and does it just as well as he's always done. Here's Harris from his own 35. And not much doing as special teams expert Brendan Rogers gets down to make the tackle. A 40-yard punt, a return of 3.
Bob Cameron, 40-yard kick taken by Ron Harris.
So Archer brings the offense back, and a substantial difference in the offensive fortunes for these two teams. Look at this. Winnipeg averaging 41 points a game is second in the league. Sacramento is second last at 19.9.
You know, where Sacramento's problem has been, they've been able to move the ball pretty consistently between 20 and 20, but when they get inside of the red zone, they just have real problems putting it into the end zone.
Archer's the 6th leading passer in the league, so clearly there's something going wrong when they get near the end zone. Looking quickly to the near side, all kinds of pressure, throws off balance and over the head of the intended target, Rod Harris, and Archer again got smacked at the end of that play as Paul Randolph came in. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago in Sacramento. You can talk about the number of times David Archer gets sacked, but this happens to him more than he gets sacked and causes just as many problems.
He takes a lot of hits. He's looking to the backside and no one's open. You can see the kind of activity that's going on underneath David Archer.
Quite frequently he gets hit just as he throws. He says he's seen less than half of his completions. Usually he's looking up at the lights. 2nd and 10 for Archer, stands in. This is tipped at the line and completed anyway. Harris has it, gets away from the first tackler and fights his way close to the first down. A gain of about 9 yards. I'm pretty sure somebody got their hand on that football at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it looked like it was moving in 2 speeds unless David Archer has a changeup.
Kelly Rush got his finger on this, I think. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he gets his hands on it.
It's a perfect spiral.
Sacramento 1st and 10. The ball is at the 49.
Kelly Rush, 6'7", a tough guy to throw over.
Does he get a completion for that? I think Mr. Archer will take it. 1st and 10 from the Sacramento 49. 4:45 to play second quarter. Archer going over the top, and there's a referee there, but nobody else.
He was looking at Tony Jones. He tried to isolate him on the short side of the field. They put 4 receivers down to the wide side, and they want to get him one-on-one with Kim Phillips. I think it was supposed to be, look like a little quick out and up. Jones broke off the route, and David Archer thought he was going up. Jones went out.
And it went nowhere. Clock running at 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. 2nd and 10 Sacramento, and here's Archer back to the shotgun. 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. Archer's got all kinds of pressure, scrambles out, throws to the sideline, has a man and completes it to Tony Jones. That'll be a Sacramento first down at the Winnipeg 36-yard line. A gain of 25 yards.
And what a great move by David Archer in the pocket to get away from blitzing linebacker Charlie Clemens. He steps outside. Clemens is working up the field, and he puts the ball right on the money to Tony Jones. Tony Jones only 5'7", 150 pounds. And I think he's embellished that. I think he's about 5'6", 140.
Archer now with 175 yards passing. And he had 92 after the first quarter on 2 pass receptions for touchdown. 1st and 10 now from the Winnipeg 36. To the ground they go. And Troy Mills is tripped up after a gain of about 4.
Well, Sacramento are starting to get themselves in situations that they like. Second and 5 right now. Troy Mills comes into this game averaging close to 7 yards per carry.
And Archer's going back to the hurry-up offense. 2nd and 6. And to the shotgun, and look at all the receiving help he's got to the near side of the field. He's looking that way over the top for James Pruitt, but the ball falls just short as Bobby Evans is there to make the defensive play for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And I'll tell you what, the spotters up here for Sacramento must be going bonkers right now, because David Archer got the mismatch again that he wanted. He had Troy Mills against Greg Clark, and Troy Mills just blew right by him again. That was the same play that they scored on earlier. This time he doesn't see him, and he tries to throw the ball to James Pruitt. But Pruitt is covered by Bobby Evans. That's great coverage. But I'm sure that information is going to get down to David Archer. When you get close and you get him in 2nd down and man coverage like that, look to hit Troy Mills again over the middle to get man coverage on him with Greg Clark.
Here's Roman Anderson trying his 2nd field goal of the football game. Puts it up, and this time it's good. So the Sacramento lead is extended once more. It's now 5 points as the Gold Miners lead 18-13 with 3:11 to play now in the 2nd quarter.
Now it's a good drive that David Archer put together for Sacramento.
What's funny, you know, when you look at the Gold Miners, they run the ball very well. You mentioned that Troy Mills comes in with a 7-yard rushing average, and yet they only have 2 rushing touchdowns. So obviously when they get near the goal line, they stop running the ball. And here's a guy who may look at his team running the ball a great deal more, with his 2nd-string quarterback and son-in-law, Sammy Garza, being examined by doctors in the dressing room. So Keithan McCant has control of the Winnipeg attack. 1st and 10 from the Bomber 35. McCant on play action. Swings it over for Jamie Holland, and not much doing for Holland on the receiver screen. We're to the 3-minute warning. We'll return to the CFL Live from the stadium in Winnipeg in just a moment. The story brought to you by Dodge Trucks, reinventing the truck. Well, the Gold Miners scored 14 points in their first 6 plays. 2 of those touchdowns set up by Winnipeg turnovers, and Sammy Garza out of the football game for tonight, and we'll find out in a couple of days how many games he'll miss. Keithan McCant, quarterback, on 2nd down, going over the top, and Jamie Holland runs under it and makes the catch at the 27-yard line. He looked to be well covered by Junior Robson, and Holland just stood under it and waited for it. A 47-yard gain.
Sometimes football just gets down to its simplest forms. It's just one-on-one outside here. Jamie Holland against Junior Robinson. Very good coverage. But you can see that Holland goes up and grabs that football. That is an excellent catch by Jamie Holland.
The rookie out of Ohio State came into this game with 10 catches, has yet to catch a touchdown pass. 1st down for McCant, who's looking a lot more comfortable back there. Gets away from the initial pressures, rolls to his right, and completes it to Blaze Bryant inside the 20 to the 17. And all of a sudden, Keithan McCant looks like a 5-year veteran out there.
It's a nice play by McCant, because he was looking initially for Gerald Wilcox doing a slant in, but the linebacker was there just praying for him to throw it to him, and he didn't throw it right here. He was going to throw it, and then he says, no, it's not open, look around. Now he buys himself some time, and a nice move here to get away from Curtis Moore. Keeps his poise, and then he finds Blaze Bryant.
And they'll measure for the 1st down, which Blaze Bryant did get at the Sacramento 17. And Cal Murphy and Matt Dunnigan talking it over with Keithan McCant.
And it's plays like that where a young quarterback starts to gain his confidence.
And I think you heard Matt Dunnigan saying we can run all that stuff now, so perhaps they're adding things to the offense as Keithan McCant goes along. Normally when you have a new quarterback, they keep the playlist very short.
Well, think about it. 3 weeks ago, he was running the team's offense in practice. This week, he probably only got about 30% of the snaps.
On 1st down, McCant has time. Throwing to the end zone for Alphen, and He's out of bounds through the end zone, and McCant, oh so close, and he knows it.
Boy, you can see the arm strength in Keith and McCant. I mean, that thing was just frozen rope all the way. You can see he's starting to get confidence. Nicely thrown pass, just a little bit long. Gerald Alphin can't come down with the catch. I think he would have been out of the end zone anyway.
So it brings up a second down now with just under 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. If you're just joining us, Sammy Garza has gone to the dressing room with a knee injury. He will not return tonight. The doctors will decide in a couple of days how long he'll be out. So Keithan McCant will direct the Winnipeg offense for the near future. Here he is on second down, ran into his own lineman, and now he's in all kinds of trouble. McCant is sacked. Corian Freeman almost picked up the loose ball, and the ex-Bomber helps out with the quarterback sack, and Keithan McCant lost about 20 yards on that play.
Take a look at Doug Ledbetter, really not a big defensive lineman, only 235 pounds. McCant tries to get outside, wants to do a little play action pass, but watch Chris Johnstone. I think it's blocked right back into him here. Looks like Chris Johnstone was almost making the tackle.
So Troy Westwood will try the field goal now from 36 yards out. Perfect tonight. Bobcat with the hole, and Westwood with a kick. Wide to the right. And the Gold Miners will concede the single point. So Winnipeg will creep a little closer, now trailing 18-14 with 1:34 to play. And Troy Westwood heads back to the bench dejected. So a game that's seen just a little bit of everything, and you see David Archer talking it over with Kay Stevenson and Kerwin Bell, the Sacramento second-string quarterback. There are those in Sacramento who suggest that Kerwin Bell is every bit as capable as David Archer. He has not been given the opportunity, but you know what? The most popular guy in any football team is the second-string quarterback.
Why is that?
Well, because he doesn't have to throw any passes. As soon as there's an interception, they look at the guy and say, he wouldn't have done that.
And I'll tell you what, it's also the toughest place to be because you never know when you're going to get into play. And you have to prepare yourself mentally that you don't get out there and actually gain any experience.
First down Sacramento from its own 35-yard line, and Archer would like to get a quick score here, looking over the middle and almost picked off by Daryl Sampson. As Archer was looking over the middle, but he couldn't get it to his intended target, and Daryl Sampson almost had an interception for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the All-Canadian last year.
Well, it's unusual for Winnipeg to play zone, but with only 1 minute and 30 seconds left, that's what they're going to try to do. David Archer just puts it over the head of Greg Clark, and Sampson comes flying across from his halfback position and almost makes the interception.
So it brings up a 2nd and 10, and the clock has not moved much. So if Sacramento has to punt here, Winnipeg might get a chance to get some points on the board. Archer over the middle again, looking for Willie Boyer, who can't squeeze it.
We talked about drop balls. There's another one that comes back to hurt Sacramento.
And Boyer, who hasn't had many footballs thrown his way, drops one that is. And so, as we mentioned, Sacramento will be forced to punt. The Gold Miners take just 13 seconds off the board, and Winnipeg should get good field position.
That's a catchable ball. You have to have those.
So Gardere will punt from his own 20. Boyko and Norris Thomas back to receive for Winnipeg. And clock management becomes the key story here in the final moments of the opening half. Gardere to Norris Thomas, who's had a couple of good kickoff returns tonight. We'll see what he can do on this punt. It's outside, and flags are down. There was a clip at the end of that play. It looks as if Bobby Humphrey, the defensive back, blocked from behind, and we'll see if this will take it back. Flags flew at exactly the time the block was made, and yes, it is indeed. Bobby Humphrey was hustling down. It looks like he got blocked from behind.
Winnipeg number 33, first down.
Winnipeg called on an illegal block.
Humphrey was hustling down. You'll see him on the left side of your screen.
You see Bobby Evans gets in there and gives him a shove from behind, and the official's right there. That's where you just got to leave him alone.
Hugh Campbell always had a great line for that. He said, if you can read his name, don't hit him.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
So that cuts back Winnipeg's field position somewhat. Now 1st and 10 Bombers at the 26-yard line with 1:09 to play in the opening half. And McCant back to throw. Look at him strong arm that over the middle of Gerald Wilcox up to the 54-yard line. My goodness, he's got a cannon.
Sometimes there's no substitute for a strong arm, and you can see it right there. Keith McCann. Nice route by Gerald Wilcox. Just cuts inside, protects the ball with his body, turns his hips back. That's a nice job by Gerald Wilcox.
27-yard gain. Makes it 1st and 10 Winnipeg from the Bomber 53. And 53 seconds left on the clock. And McCann with that little toss forward again to Blaze Bryant. Doesn't get much this time. He's stacked up at midfield as hustling up to make the stop was Curtis Moore along with others.
You know, it's tough for that to work against his defense. We talked about it before, but when McCann starts to roll away, the guys on the backside of Sacramento's defense, they're in a check situation. They're trying to make sure that nothing comes back their way. They're not penetrating.
Bizarre call, too, because the clock ran and got down to 39 seconds before Winnipeg called timeout. So the Bombers wasted 7 seconds there as the ball did not go out of bounds. And so McCann will go over and talk it over with Cal Murphy. You'd think they'd need probably another 15 yards before a field goal try would be reasonable. And there's Sammy Garza. Boy, that's all the Bombers need is more crutches for their quarterbacks.
More braces on their legs. Matt Dunnigan.
So their starting 2 quarterbacks have 2 good legs between them. And that's not enough. He wouldn't even good in a 3-legged race. 2nd and 9. McCann. Add time. Now kind of throws it sidearm and completes it up there to Jamie Holland. Holland will be short of the first down, but McCann off his back foot threw a strikeout there.
Sometimes they say you'd rather be lucky than good, and that was the case where I think McCann was trying to throw it to Blaze Bryant.
They're going to try the field goal by Troy Westwood. Now the ball is spotted at the 48-yard line, so this will be about a 55-yard field goal attempt by Troy Westwood. Now there's some confusion on the Winnipeg sideline as they're hustling people in and out.
Well, they're going for it now, it looks like.
Well, Cameron's on the field, so's Westwood.
They're coming out. Now they want to make sure they have the right number of people on the field. You don't want to get called for too many men.
Looks like a preschool fire drill. And now the Gold Miners have to get their return guys off the field. But the play clock wasn't running, so it won't hurt the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They're gambling on 3rd and what looks to be about 2. McCann rolling to his right. Firing back, has a man, Jamie Holland. There's a flag down, and it's in the backfield of the Bombers. You'd have to think that's holding Winnipeg.
Yeah, Curtis Moore, number 94 for Sacramento. He was the one telling the official that was being held. And that's the call. Now they have to punt it away.
Holding. Winnipeg number 66. 3rd down repeated.
They got Miles Gurrell. Miles Gurrell told me one time that if you hold on every play, they can't call it because the games would be 5 hours long. But they got him that time.
And it's 3rd and 11.
He's against Mark Ledbetter.
51.
I don't know. That's got his arm in there, and that's what Ledbetter's trying to do is expose his shoulder to him because he knows it's not as much area in which Miles Gurrell can put his hands on, and hand slides in front of his chest, and the official calls him for holding.
9th Winnipeg penalty of the football game. And now Bob Cameron back to punt. 1 man back for Sacramento. Low snap, and Cameron hauls it in and gets a high spiraling kick away to Rod Harris. All the way back to his own 6. And not much room to run right now. Harris trying to get outside. Still looking for some room. Now dances back, gets up across the 20, and runs about 60 yards to get maybe 20. And that'll do it for the opening half. A 19-yard return by Rod Harris after the 51-yard punt by Bob Cameron. And a first half that saw a little bit of everything, mostly bad things for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, comes to a close. Our CFL Live halftime report is coming up with Sacramento leading Winnipeg by 4.
Time at Winnipeg Stadium. Always happy to have a chance to visit with Matt Dunnigan. And he's out another month, and the news about his buddy, Mr. Garza, is not very good.
No, it's not. I guess the initial diagnosis was that Sammy's blown his ACL, and he's out for the season. So the bad luck in Bomber camp just keeps happening.
It's amazing, Matt, how quarterbacks go down. It's a tough game, but this is a great opportunity for Keithan McCant. And, you know, there's been some turnovers, but you'd expect that out of a young quarterback who's had maybe 10 plays with a first-string offense since training camp started.
That's right, and I think it's important for Keithan to go out there and feel comfortable in the plays that he's calling and let him call his own plays so he has confidence in what he's doing out there so he can show his athleticism and his skills. I think it's the only way to go. And we're trying not to get in his ear too much. We're just trying to keep him focused, understand what he's thinking and what he's seeing out there. And I thought he's done a great job. And he's going to have to lead us to the promised land here in the next little while. And I know he can do it. He's a fine quarterback. He's got a great background, and we got a lot of confidence in him.
Well, he's not beating you. That's the thing. He's giving the team a chance to come back and make the game competitive.
Well, and we've got all the possibilities in the world with our defense and our special teams, the way Troy's kicking the ball. I know he let one slide there towards the end of the half there, but Troy's been bang on as of late, and I know our defense is going to shore up and tighten up a little bit. I got all the confidence in Keith, and he can push the ball down the field. Our receivers, our offensive line is going to help him out, going to rally around the young kid.
Now, you're hoping to be back by the end of September. Lonnie Gleberman's hoping you play in Shreveport, I dare say, because you know a lot of people down there, and you might need some tickets.
Oh, that'd be great. I'm shooting for the first Shreveport game here, and then hopefully for the second one there. I'm looking forward to the opportunity of playing down there. First time playing back in the States in 12 years in and around that area, so it'd be a great opportunity for for myself, but. Lots going to happen between now and then, and we just got to make sure that we continue to fight hard and win football games between now and then, and we'll let Shreveport take care of itself.
Will you wear a brace? Have you found something that doesn't restrict your mobility too much and may allow you to play the game in a little safer situation than you've been able to and perhaps prolong the career?
Well, I don't. Yeah, the career is going to be prolonged regardless of whether I wear a brace or not, but I've been fitted for a brace as of 2 days ago, and I don't know what it's going to feel like or look like at this point, but yeah, it's going to become a part of my uniform.
When can you start running again?
Probably about another 4 weeks, another month.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. You got a little coaching to do here with the youngster, and he's doing good, so keep it up. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Matt Dunnigan of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, his team on the short end of an 18-14 score to the Sacramento Gold Miners as halftime rolls on from Winnipeg Stadium.
Sacramento leads Winnipeg 18-14 after an eventful opening 30 minutes for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and the event they least wanted to see was the man who was taking over from Matt Dunnigan. Sammy Garza injured at quarterback. You heard Matt Dunnigan say a moment ago he believes it's an ACL. That's the anterior cruciate ligament. If that requires surgery, that's the season for Garza. And here's a look at how it happened, Jamie.
And that's just an actually horrible break for Winnipeg. Garza was actually having a pretty good game so far. He was controlling the offense, doing a good job. Here, Sacramento did a great job in terms of secondary coverage, forced Garza to pull the ball down. But just take a look at the shot that he takes right here from Hurley Brown.
Now, we talked about turnovers being the key to this football game. We meant Sacramento turning the ball over. In fact, right after a Winnipeg turnover, this touchdown to Rod Harris.
But what's that move by Rod Harris? Man coverage against Darrell Sampson, and he just gives him that little shake and then goes right by him. This results in a 58-yard touchdown, and Sacramento go up 14-3.
Now, give Keithan McCant credit. He directed a nice drive, and he capped it off. Before this was a 26-yard play to Gerald Wilcox, and then this touchdown.
Well, again, Hurley Brown's the outside linebacker on the other side. Has to come all the way across the formation, and McCant does a nice job of finding the receiver and putting the ball right in the money.
What did you see in Keithan McCant that could be improved, and what did you see that you liked?
Well, I think, first of all, his confidence is getting better right now, and I think that's very, very important for this Winnipeg club. I think Cal Murphy's done a good job of giving him things that he can handle, making sure he's not putting too much on his plate. I'm sure he's getting a crash course again on the offense at halftime right now. But I think what he's also got to do is throw the ball up a little bit higher when he throws the ball long. He's got to get some air under it, give his receivers a chance to run under the football.
So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who only dressed 2 quarterbacks, have 1 playing right now, and before this game, he had never thrown a pass in the CFL. We'll come back to the second half of this CFL Live game from Winnipeg when we return in just a moment. Welcome back to Winnipeg. The numbers after the opening 30 minutes show the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with more net yards. The turnovers, 4 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 2 of them resulted in Sacramento touchdowns. But of course, the big story here is the fact that Sammy Garza is hurt. You heard Matt Dunnigan say at halftime it appears Garza has torn his ACL. Cal Murphy squeezes out a smile, but he said yesterday he was very concerned about this football game. His team always plays well against the good teams, against the weaker teams. You never know, and what a nightmare for Murphy. David Archer had a workmanlike first half, 7 of 18. He had 2 completions for 92 yards, so the other 5 cover about 80. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions for the Sacramento starter, who, remember, came into this game dinged with a sore neck and an injured throwing hand.
But those numbers really don't reflect David Archer's play because he's had 2 or 3 of them drop that were catchable balls. His stats could have looked a lot better.
Sacramento will take the ball to open the second half. The kickoff from Troy Westwood. Bounces close to the sidelines where it's picked up by Charles Miles. And Miles picks his way out to about the 35-yard line where Archer and the Sacramento offense will take over. Archer, the CFL's 6th leading passer entering this football game, came in at just under 2,000 yards. Remember, he was a 6,000-yard passer last season. And very quietly in Calgary, Doug Flutie having another remarkable year. He's on pace for 5,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards. No CFL quarterback has ever done that. 4 receivers to the near side of the field. Here's Archer rolling to his right, throwing deep. He's got Pruitt open, and James Pruitt makes the catch inside Winnipeg territory to the 40-yard line. Errol Brown, the safety, comes over to make the tackle, but not before a gain of 35 yards by big James Pruitt.
Well, it looks like they're trying to put some pressure on Daryl Sampson. Daryl Sampson is halfback inside. And watch, Daryl just trips on himself, and Errol Brown, the safety, has to come all the way across the field to make the tackle.
And Archer showed a little movement out of the pocket there, something you don't see often from him. He's asked Kay Stevenson to put more roll out into the offense just to get him away from the rush a little bit. 1st and 10 from the 40. They'll hand it off inside this time. Troy Mills bounces outside, gets away from another tackle and picks his way inside the 25 to about the 24-yard line. Troy Mills looked to be stacked up inside on a routine running play, but it's anything but routine as he picks up about 16 yards.
When you coach young running backs, you always tell them, keep your feet moving at all times. Look at this. Look at his feet. Continue to go. Continue to go. Now he slides off and he finds daylight. Good blocking downfield as well. Rod Harris with a great block, as well as James Pruitt.
2 consecutive first downs for the Sacramento Gold Miners, and they're threatening early in the 3rd quarter. Mills, the lone man in the backfield. Gets not much as Stan Mikwas, the nose tackle, stacks it up along with Kelly Rush. A gain of, call it a couple. It'll bring up 2nd and 8. Big Kelly Rush out of Florida State. We've been talking about the Seminoles tonight, the defending national champions in U.S. college football, well represented here.
Wonder what these guys think of Winnipeg, though, in November.
It ain't Tallahassee. Back to the shotgun, so it's up to the big man up front to protect David Archer on 2nd and 8. Archer stands in, throws over the middle, looking for Tony Hargain, and Hargain was well covered on the play by Kim Phillips. And the safety Errol Brown came over to help out as well, so Archer and the offense will leave the field to Roman Anderson in the field goal unit.
And again, once again, they get close and down to the 20-yard line. They can't seem to punch it into the end zone. It's been a concern for Kay Stevenson and their Gold Miners all season long.
Hargain was open, but just for a second, and then kind of short-armed the ball as it came through. Archer himself hasn't said it, but the criticism of the Sacramento receivers has been that they quite often won't pay the price to make the tough catch. Here's Anderson from the 29. Skies it up and good, and Sacramento slowly but surely works up a 7-point lead on the Roman Anderson field goal. It's 21-14 Sacramento. We're just underway in the 3rd quarter on the CFL Live. Canadian Pacing Derby live from Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto on Saturday, August 27th, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time, as TSN's harness racing coverage continues into a busy fall schedule. Keithan McCann directs the Winnipeg offense tonight, and who knows how much longer. McCann's done a pretty decent job. Remember, his first pass was intercepted. That hurts.
He started off a little shaky initially, but he really got himself under control and has actually put in a pretty good night so far. 10 of 20, 138 yards, 1 touchdown pass.
And he does have the strong arm. Off balance, he can put it up there about 40 yards. 1st and 10 from the 35. And McCann going to his right, has some room to run, throws instead over the middle, has Wilcox, and Wilcox has room to run all the way down to the Sacramento 48-yard line. A gain of 27, and McCann really looks poised back there.
Well, you talk about threading the needle, and this is a very, very difficult throw. Joe Wilcox lines out right. It's a pretty good move, spins back inside. Sees his quarterback in trouble rolling out, but look at the ball right to the money. Darryl does a nice job. Gerald does a nice job of getting his hands out and squeezing the football.
And he injured with those hands squeezing it. You see, he wears those funny colored gloves. They're actually glass cutters gloves. Ray Elgard and Jeff Fairholm popularized those in Saskatchewan. McCann rolling away from his body, gets it down to Alphen, a right-handed quarterback rolling to his left, and he put that one out, and one you can hang your laundry on.
And especially he didn't get his hips around, and he wasn't going towards the line of scrimmage. He was kind of fading away, so it shows you the kind of arm strength that Keith McCann possesses.
He looks like a different quarterback than the guy that came in.
He does, doesn't he? Looks a little bit more assertive, more confident. This is his team right now. And, you know, I think the other thing that helps him as well, and I know that they're disappointed that Sammy Garza's not going to come back in, but they basically put the responsibility onto him and say, now, this is your game, it's your team. No one's coming in to relieve you. You have to do it.
Got an injured Sacramento gold miner on the play. You know, you talk about Keith McCann and the fact that he will be the Winnipeg quarterback for at least the near future. The question you have to ask is, what do the Bombers do about another quarterback? They only dressed 2 here. They're obviously going to need another one, so they'll have to make some kind of trade. Now, there's 2 ways to look at it. NFL cuts are happening, but are you going to bring in a raw rookie who's never even seen a CFL game, or do you try to trade for a veteran? There aren't many out there. There aren't many teams carrying 3 quarterbacks where the third guy is a veteran. Tom Mickey got snapped up pretty quickly when Edmonton cut him loose. And George Bethune is the injured Sacramento gold miner. We'll see how he got hurt.
See right there, he gets hit by number 60, center Dave Vanconet. It's actually very close to being a clip, but he seemed to get up and walk back towards the huddle, and then he just sat down on the turf, and the training staff came out to take a look at it. George Bethune played with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 1 game, I believe, back in '93. As did a number of these Sacramento gold miners. Willie Fears, of course, defensive lineman. He also played with the Bombers 4 games in 1988.
Corian Freeman saw a lot of work with them.
He's another one, yeah.
Look at the ex-Bombers that play leading roles for other teams, especially at linebacker. Greg Battle in Vegas. Alfred Payton is now signed with Baltimore. You've got Corian Freeman here in Sacramento. The Bombers just seem to get a lot of good linebackers, and their cuts end up starting for other teams.
An interesting comment about Alfred Payton. I mean, he was a great linebacker here with Winnipeg. Struggled a little bit in Shreveport, and we asked Cal Murphy about that, and he said he felt that they put him against an offensive tackle when he was a rushing linebacker. And he said when he was here in Winnipeg, they had him against backs, and he was much more effective.
You saw Kenny Wilhite on crutches there. Wilhite was injured in the opening half. It doesn't appear he'll return tonight with the pads off and standing on the crutches. So it's a first down for the Blue Bombers at the Sacramento 37-yard line. Winnipeg trailing by 7. The give to Blaze Bryant, who's got all kinds of room. He fights his way inside the 25, and Bryant has a pickup of 14 yards and another Winnipeg first down.
This is a great job by Chris Johnstone, the fullback. He gets a lead block, and number 94, Curtis Moore. And this is what springs it. Look at that. I mean, you can just see the top of your screen, but what a nice job.
And the big boys open up the holes for Blaze Bryant. 6 carries for 40 yards. And Miles Gurrell in his 17th CFL season. Here's Bryant running behind Gurrell. Running by Gurrell. Heading for the end zone. Touchdown! Blaze Bryant. From 24 yards out. And the Blue Bombers with the convert can tie the football game. Big Miles Gurrell was like a human eclipse out in front of him, and Bryant ran right around him.
Okay, they're going to run counter right here. They're going to bring Gurrell across here, but interesting, they're not going to take the guard this time. They're going to bring Johnson across as well. Then they're going to hand the ball, and he's going to come across this way. We can roll it. A lot of times you run counter, you bring the guard and tackle. This time they bring Gurrell, he hooks, and then Johnstone actually doesn't have to block anybody because Gurrell does such a great job. He gets Bryant around the corner.
Westwood's convert is good, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have tied the football game at 21. Thanks to number 21.
Hey, read it.
Big Miles Gurrell, named for Rolly Miles. He was born in Edmonton. His father was a big CFL fan and named his son Miles in honor of the great Edmonton Eskimo running back. He's been around, and
it's hard to believe he played 20 years ago at the University of Ottawa on that Vanier Cup team that produced a lot of players that went on to play in the CFL. Eric Upton, of course, with Edmonton. Jeff Avery played wide receiver with Ottawa for a few years.
Those guys have been retired for like 7-8 years.
I know.
And Miles just keeps on going. And
17 years in the CFL.
He made his presence felt there for Blaze Bryant out of Iowa State. I wonder if he and David Archer got together. They're both products of the Iowa State program, although Blaze was a little after David's time. So Sacramento and Winnipeg are now tied at 21, and Keithan McCant does it with his arm to open the drive, and it finishes up with the running of Blaze Bryant. The Bombers look like they haven't missed a step after some initial difficulties for Keithan McCant. And now the Gold Miners get a chance to answer back. Low driving kick, picked up by Charlie Miles, and Miles gets belted at the 30. He gets up to about the 33-yard line. There to make the stop again on special teams is Brendan Rogers. 4 plays, 75 yards. The last 2 of them were by Blaze Bryant on great running plays as he followed his big blockers around the end.
And this is a real critical series coming up now for Sacramento. The last series they had, they drove the ball pretty effectively. They had to settle for a field goal. They've got to start putting the ball in the end zone. David Archer starting to realize that, hey, McCant's starting to gain some confidence. He's starting to run the offense pretty effectively. Let's keep him and that Winnipeg offense off the field.
Split backs for Archer on first down. Fake the draw play. Archer has time over the middle, has a man wide open and completes it there to Rod Harris, who just got out of the way in time. His head would be rolling to the sidelines right now if he hadn't done. Gain of 23 yards.
It's a nice play by David Archer. They have Tony Jones at the top of your screen and Rod Harris the slot, and great play action pass. Holds actually the linebackers. That's why you give a great seam. See, now he's zone coverage. He lets him go. Now watch, Harris cuts back inside. There's a huge hole in here, and Archer puts the ball right on the money.
Harris with 4 catches for 101 yards. 1st and 10 Sacramento from the Gold Miner 54. 9:10 to play in the 3rd quarter. Archer back quickly. The ball is tipped but completed anyway as Tony Jones makes the catch, and that ball wobbled into him. I'm not sure if it was Kelly Rush again, but somebody got their hand on that football as it left the line of scrimmage.
Well, what they're trying to do is get Tony Jones isolated one-on-one on the backside. He's one of the fastest men in the CFL. Ball gets tipped. Still Jones, good concentration, coming up with a big catch.
Gain of 7 makes it 2nd and 3 for the Sacramento Gold Miners inside Winnipeg territory to the Bomber 49. Gives it off over the middle. Not much for Troy Mills. He had to get down about the 46 for the first down. He'll be a good yard short. Good play by the Bomber defense to get in there. Greg Clark is in there along with Charlie Clemens.
And we talked about the veteran offensive line for Winnipeg. Defensive line, Stan Mikowas, of course, 13 years, and Lloyd Lewis, 10 years in the CFL. Very experienced group.
A 3rd and a yard, a long yard for Sacramento. Big gamble by the Gold Miners here. They give it outside, and he gets nowhere. Charlie Miles, and a great play by Errol Brown, the safety, to jump up and make the stop. Miles tried to find some running room, could not, and the Winnipeg defense turns in the big play. 7:54 to play in the 3rd quarter. The CFL Live continues after this.
Late first quarter of tonight's ball game. Did you think it was as serious as it was at the time that it happened?
No, I didn't. I just was just trying to get down. I seen the defenders coming on me hard, and I was just trying to get down. And sure enough, I just felt it. Just, I felt it. and I just couldn't move it for a while. I just kind of felt numb and couldn't do anything about it.
Can you describe what it felt like when you tried to run on the sidelines after they brought you off the field?
Well, I was trying to run. I thought it was going to be all right, but it just wasn't stable enough to. I could feel my knee going up and back and forth, and I was just like, well, something doesn't feel right there.
Yeah. Let's have a look at it here. Maybe you can describe the play, because you were trying to make. We're going to play, I'm told. Thanks, Sammy. Good luck. Get it healthy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Peter. You hear the crowd booing. We'll tell you why in a moment. Archer back on the fake, waiting for someone to get open. Can't, and he's dropped. While we went away to break, they ruled that the Charles Miles forward progress got him a first down. Cal Murphy was apoplectic on the sidelines. They gave Sacramento a first down, and now there's a flag down in the Winnipeg defensive backfield.
And that's interference against Donald Smith against Tony Jones, number 4. He basically grabbed him and held him, and that's why David Archer didn't have anybody to throw to and took the sack.
So what a turn of events here. The Blue Bombers think they've stopped Charles Miles.
Illegal contact, Winnipeg number 19, first down repeat.
They think they've stopped them on 3rd and short. Instead, Sacramento gets the ball back and then gets an interference call to move the ball further downfield. My goodness.
That's a legitimate call. I don't think Donald Smith had anything to argue about, because he put the arms right around Tony Jones.
So it's a first down Sacramento at the Winnipeg 36-yard line. The Bomber offense had the helmets on. They were on the field and ready to scrimmage it. The referee said, no thanks, you'll have to do it again. And now there's a problem on the field. Archer is screaming at the Sacramento sideline, and Kay Stevenson throws his headset down. Time count violation, Sacramento. And did they have enough men on the field?
Yeah, they do have 12 out there. I don't know what's happening. I think David Archer, they're trying to get a play into him, and David was probably trying to change it, and then they tried to call the timeout, but the flag had already been thrown.
So they give 5 back. It's now 1st and 15 from the Winnipeg 41. And the crowd, a little aggravated by that measurement earlier, gets on Archer, who takes a shot, throws it up, and incomplete. Boy, Archer got drilled at the end of that. He was looking over there for Tony Hargate.
David Archer shows great courage standing in the pocket. Nice play action fake. But watch number 69, Rob Davidson, comes in here and just gives him a whack right in the ribs.
And Archer gets a nice view of the stadium lights once more. Now some more gesturing going on, as there seems to be there's an injured Sacramento gold miner. Tony Jones is down in the defensive backfield. Nobody saw him. The gold miners almost went to the line of scrimmage before anyone saw that Jones was down at about the 23-yard line. And Jones is gripping his hamstring. Cal's still talking about that play by Charles Miles a few minutes ago, saying you can't call that guy down there.
Well, on that play, Errol Brown came up and made a great hit on Charles Miles. It looked like he was stopped. And I think everybody in the stadium, we all thought it was short. But he got the gravy spot by the officials. As you can see, Tony Jones is in agony. It's like a pulled hamstring very high up.
So David Archer talks it over with Kay Stevenson. They've had some frustrating moments here. Cal Murphy rather, is steamed at the Winnipeg bench. There's a couple of angry head coaches here.
And you know the linesman is just hoping play will resume so he can get away from Cal.
So Stevenson talks it over with Archer and Bell on the Sacramento sideline. It's funny that side judge who was talking to Cal is from the U.S. He's one of the new American officials.
Cal's giving him an education right now.
That's all he needs, is to hear from a guy who's been around the league for about 20 years. He stands his ground.
Well, it's nice to see Tony Jones walking off under his own steam.
So it's 2nd and 15 from the Winnipeg 41. in a drive that's taken up a lot of time but hasn't really gone anywhere. Archer from the shotgun. Flags are down. More flags are down. More flags are down. Archer over the middle has a man. It's Willie Boyer. And who knows if this is coming back. It's got to be holding, one of the calls against Sacramento, and that's the initial indication. And there may be offside as well. Offside Winnipeg. Well, Ross has been around a long time. He'll know what to do here.
Offside, Winnipeg number 44. Holding, Sacramento number 62.
Oh, let's talk it over for a minute. So back to the 46 they go. 2nd and 20.
It's John Buddenberg, the left side of your screen. He is to try and handle Paul Randolph. You see, once again, he gets the grip right around the neck. You know, toughest position to play in the offensive line, left tackle. You have to protect the quarterback's backside.
This drive has only traveled 32 yards. It's chewed up about 7 minutes on the clock. Archer throwing deep, has a man. Throws it short, picked off by Bobby Evans. Evans picks it off. They were looking for James Pruitt. He had to stop and wait for the football. And the Sacramento drive finally ends. It took some doing, but the Bombers finally stopped the Gold Miners.
And this is why Winnipeg like to play a lot of man coverage, because they have the personnel that can do it. This is great coverage by Bobby Evans, number 30. Just absolutely great. You know, he turns at the right moment, positions himself, makes sure that Pruitt can't get to the football. Nice job.
It looks like he got in behind Pruitt. If you didn't know better, you'd think Keith and McCann threw that football. So we talked about turnovers, and there's Sacramento's third of the football game.
Well, they've been averaging 4 per game, so they're getting close to their average.
That last drive took 4 minutes and 5 seconds off the clock and accomplished very little. McCann to Jamie Holland. Holland trying to juke his way around Junior Robinson. Picks up 6-7 yards, gets up to the 31-yard line.
Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, we needed that, baby. We needed that.
I always like it when they get a guy to the phone right after he's made a big play. The guy's just run like 80 yards, and the coach is talking to him. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah.
I know, baby.
Give him a minute to catch his breath. It's like coming into the house with groceries and the phone rings.
Well, you can see why Bobby Evans is an Eastern All-Star.
They call it a gain of 6. It's 2nd and 4. They fake to Bryant. All kinds of room for McCann to run. Stops up and throws it to Chris Johnstone. The big fullback rumbles his way up to the 44-yard line for a Winnipeg first down. Nice fake by McCann.
This is a play that Winnipeg loved to run. They fake the counter, and they run naked bootleg, and they have Johnson actually blocks initially, and then he releases. Nice fake by McCann. You see even our cameraman gets fooled a little bit, but a nice job. See Chris Johnstone making the catch.
So it's a first down, Winnipeg at the Bomber 45. This time they give to Bryant. Working his way behind Garrell again. What a block he got from Garrell, and Bryant still going inside the 40 to the 39. Miles Garrell pushed his man back about 10 yards, and Blaze Bryant ran right in behind him.
This is absolutely a great series because they fake the counter going left. Now they run the counter coming back to the right. They run a little bit differently this time. This time they do pull, guard, and tackle.
Pickup of 25.
They pull Brett McNeil and Miles Garrell, and this is textbook right here. It's exactly how it should go. Kicks out, pulls through, and then Blaze Bryant just turns it on with his speed.
Well, Blaze Bryant takes advantage and now has 88 yards rushing in the football game. And a touchdown. But give a big assist there to big Miles Garrell, who looked like a human bowling ball as people scattered in front of him.
And you know what's amazing about Miles Garrell? I mean, he says he's 6'8", 325. I think he's a little bit heavier than that, but he runs so well for a big man. He has great feet.
First down from the 39. Back they go inside to Blaze Bryant. This time not as much, as he stopped right at the line of scrimmage at about the 40. They may spot it as a gain of 1. You know, it's funny, you talk about the big bookend tackles, Miles Garrell and Chris Walby. The most amazing thing to me about Matt Dunnigan's 713-yard passing game, the Bombers had over 800 yards offense. So Miles Garrell and Chris Walby had to run 800 yards to get to the line of scrimmage. They said the good thing was a lot of the touchdown passes were thrown from midfield, so they didn't have far to run to get to the bench. Second down from the 39. They fake to Bryant. McCann has time, goes over the top for Wilcox. Makes the catch. How good is that? Gerald Wilcox, well covered. Hauls it in and is brought down at the 2. A gain of 36 yards.
And you know, Gord, you said it. He was well covered. But what did McCann do at that time? He put the ball up high in the air. He let the ball drop in. He didn't try and put it on a line. The ball falls in. That's not bad coverage right there. You can see Bobby Humphrey misses the ball because it falls right out of the sky. I mean, Keith McCann is doing some great things now on offense. And you can kind of see he's really into the game right now. He gets into the huddle. He's pumped up. It's fun to see.
First and goal from the 2. Chance for Winnipeg to take its first lead in the football game. Bryant leaping, goes nowhere. Great play by the Sacramento defense. Leading the charge was linebacker Maurice Miller, number 97. The second leading tackler in the CFL coming into this game.
Well, that's Maurice Miller's responsibility. He's a linebacker. He just shoots that gap. He's just following Blaze Bryant. He's going to mirror him.
And Willie Fears helps with the stop as well. He gets low.
That's the thing. The defensive linemen get low, submarine those offensive linemen, and let the linebackers make the tackles.
Second and goal from the 2. Toss to Bryant. Room. Can he get outside? Touchdown. Had a man on him, but he got away. And Blaze Bryant has his second touchdown of the football game to give Winnipeg the lead.
They say you can't coach speed. This is just a great individual effort by Blaze Bryant. Dips the shoulder, then he gets outside and just outruns Bobby Humphrey to the corner of the end zone.
He beat a guy who played in the NFL for 11 years.
Hey, can't stop you, baby. Let's go, buddy. Let's go, D.
Amazing what young legs will do for you.
Troy Westwood adds the convert. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for the first time lead the football game 28-21 the score with 1:42 to play in the third quarter. And the Winnipeg crowd makes some noise for the first time tonight. Back in Winnipeg, stay tuned at the conclusion of today's game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Armor All. Back in Winnipeg, where Blaze Bryant leads that last Winnipeg drive and puts the Bombers on top for the first time. And Blaze Bryant, as expected, has a big night for Winnipeg. The guy who took over for Michael Richardson, who led the CFL the last 2 years in rushing. And David Archer now will have some work to do as that kickoff went out of bounds. They'll have to do it again.
Excuse me, Gord. Talking about Blaze Bryant, he was also a very good receiver coming out of the backfield. And even last year, Cal Murphy tried to use him at one time as a wide receiver. They thought they could work him in there, but he can do it all.
So Troy Westwood will be forced to do it again, and the Bombers riding out the storm with all the injuries they've had. If you've just joined us, Sammy Garza is out of this game and perhaps out for the season with a knee injury. This after Matt Dunnigan was hurt earlier in the season, last week actually, and now they'll have to deal with Keith McCann as their first-string quarterback, and he's done a pretty decent job. His first pass was picked up, and since then he's been pretty good. Here's Charles Miles. Oh, he got smacked. At about the 32-yard line, he ran into Greg Clark, who dropped him like a bag of cement. And Clark's still shaking.
This makes special teams coach smile. Greg Clark, number 58, linebacker coming down to special teams, just rocks him. Look at his head snap.
And now Troy Mills is reaching for the phone. We talked about the difference, Jamie, and there it is. Can't turn the ball over. David Archer did last time he had the ball, and Winnipeg drove it down and scored the go-ahead touchdown.
And you know, the crazy thing is, Gord, is that Sacramento has had 2 good drives the last 2 times they've had the ball. One, they only managed to get 3 points out of it, a field goal, and the last one an interception.
And the injured Sacramento gold miner is Troy Mills. Takes his knee pads out of his chest.
Those bells are still ringing.
Takes the elbow pads off the ankles and says, "I'm fine." "I'm fine, Mom. What time's dinner?" Saw Tom Burgess get his bell rung a couple weeks ago in Saskatchewan, and I said, "How you doing, Tom?" He says, "Fine." Everything all right? He says, "Fine." That's all I can say. Look at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. though. David Williams out for the season with a torn Achilles. Then you got Matt Dunnigan and Sammy Garza. The Bomber dressing room must look like Tiny Tim's closet. First down, Sacramento from the goal miner 32. Archer with time, looking deep, has a man. Pruitt picked off by Earl Brown. Another turnover for Sacramento, and Brown still going. Across the 40, down about the 35. A flag is down, but the interception will stand. Second consecutive David Archer pass that has been picked off, and it gives the Bombers good field position pending the penalty.
And Earl Brown was tackled by Mike Kissel.
Maybe an illegal block on the return, but the interception should stand anyway. The Bomber offense is prepared to take the field, but they might want to wait. The last time they did that, Sacramento hung on to the football. They must have more than one foul here. Ross is talking it over with a number of interested parties. Roughing the passer, Winnipeg.
Automatic first down.
And the illegal block on the return, but with roughing the passer, that won't matter. 13th penalty the Bombers have taken in the football game. Stan Mickelwas talking over with Ross Perrier. I like Ross Perrier a lot, but come on, make the call here. I mean,
everybody wants an explanation. You should only be talking to the captain.
Now Walby wants to talk it over, and he's the offensive captain. The Winnipeg offense wasn't even on the field.
Major foul, roughing the passer, 90 Winnipeg. Illegal block, Winnipeg. First down.
Kelly Rush is called for roughing the passer, and that's the penalty that matters because it gives Sacramento the automatic first down. 1, 2, 3. Yep.
No question. Boy, those penalties kill coaches, and they shorten players' careers doing things like that. You've got to show some discipline, and you can see Cal is incensed right now.
It's a 25-yard penalty. Now that's twice the Winnipeg offense has come on the field thinking it had the ball, and twice Sacramento got a call to give it a first down. And now the crowd's really incensed. First down, Sacramento inside Winnipeg territory at the Blue Bomber 52. Archer gives it off to Troy Mills, and Mills gets down to the 49.
And, you know, I like Archer's play coming back. You know, they go to Kelly Rush's side because they know he's upset right now. He wants to tee off on the ball, get after the quarterback, and they run the ball up inside of him. See, Rush gets up the field, and they run the ball into Troy Mills inside.
And Cal Murphy still having it out with the officials, and Cal is not pleased at all, and no wonder. That was a gain of 9. And now Archer's talking over with Ross Perrier again. Didn't see a flag on the play.
Illegal participation, Sacramento number 20.
Well, that must mean that because he had to be out for 3 plays when he was down. He didn't stay out for 3 plays. He came back on. So Mills should leave the football game now.
He should. He should be off the field.
He's got to leave the field, or that's another penalty. And look at Cal Murphy still giving it to the referees. That poor guy on that sideline, that poor referee on the sideline, he's in his first year in the CFL, and he's hearing it from one of the league's greatest referee baiters. The Earl Weaver of the Canadian Football League. So back go the Gold Miners.
And Troy
Mills goes out. Off. Keevan Jenkins comes in. Sacramento goes back. Well, isn't this interesting? It's second and a whole bunch. Make it 1st and 20. The Gold Miners are going on another one of those long drives that goes nowhere. Like they're stuck in the mud. what may be the final play of the third quarter. 1st and 20 Gold Miners. Everything seems to be in order. Archer throws it. It's tipped at the line, and another great catch is made right at the 50-yard line. Trey Everett makes the grab, and that will bring a close to the third quarter as the Sacramento Gold Miners look to equalize the football game. They trail by 7, 28-21. You're watching the CFL live from Winnipeg on TSN.
4 on hand at Winnipeg Stadium tonight, considering that Bette Midler was here last week and filled the Winnipeg Arena, and the Stones drew over 50,000 here to the stadium last night. That's a pretty good attendance mark. A lot of discretionary income spent in this town in the last little while. Pretty good support by the Winnipeg fans. You know, I was thinking, Gord, that Mick and the boys have been on stage longer than you've been on Earth.
That's true. That's very true. And they're better than I am, too. They put on a great show here last night. I'll tell you that. In fact, I don't know if the attendance figures tonight count some of the people that fell asleep after the Stones concert and just woke up this afternoon. They can't find their way home. 28-21 Winnipeg to open the fourth quarter. It's 2nd and 12 for Sacramento from the Winnipeg 50-yard line. It's been a seesaw game and a seesaw drive. Archer drops the ball, steps up, throws, incomplete. And the numbers through 45 minutes of football tell the tale as Winnipeg takes the lead. The turnovers now 4 for Winnipeg, 3 for Sacramento, and they've almost all resulted in points. Net yards, 100 more for the Bombers. They've got 269 yards passing, and Keithan McCant has been a big part of that, and 123 yards rushing for the Blue Bombers.
I think that's a big story right now. I think Winnipeg's big offensive line is starting to wear down Sacramento's defensive line. They're not all that big. We talked about that earlier. Ledbetter only 235 and Curtis Moore only 235 against guys that weigh 325 pounds. Wears on you after a while.
Pete Gardier's punt taken by Boyko at the 10. Not much room to run. He gets to about the 15-yard line as the Gold Miners do a good job on special teams. Mark Ledbetter gets down to help make the stop. And that's where the Winnipeg offense will take over finally after thinking it had the ball a moment ago.
And I'm sure Cal's telling Keithan McCant right now, let's just play smart right now. Let's not try to force anything. Gerald Wilcox now leading the CFL in pass receiving and yards.
And Alan Pitts will take the field tomorrow night against the Toronto Argonauts and get a chance to retake the lead. Both men on pace to break the CFL record for receptions and yards in a season. So 1st and 10 for the Blue Bombers from their own 16-yard line. To the short side of the field, throws it there quickly, gets Gerald Alphin up to about the 22-yard line. Gain of 6 yards.
It's a nice safe pass for Keithan McCant to throw, rolling to his left and then picking out Gerald Alphin. And it puts him into a situation now where it's only 2nd down and 4, so they have the ability now to run the football or pass. It takes a lot of pressure off of McCant.
Second and 4. Here's McCant giving off to Bryant somewhat awkwardly, and Blaze Bryant got nowhere. A little miscommunication between the quarterback and the running back, and you talked about the 3 things.
Right, mesh, flow, and exchange. But I'll tell you what, Maurice Miller, number 97 for Sacramento, does what a middle linebacker is supposed to do. He reads that play instantly, and then he just fires into the gap and gets into the backfield. Trying to run a little counter play. Maurice Miller right in there. Boom.
So Bob Cameron back to punt again for Winnipeg, and this time Sacramento should get some decent field position. 2 men back this time to take the punt, and after Cameron boomed his last one, they give him plenty of respect. In fact, they're about 60 yards back. And Cameron's punt taken by Harper. He's got room. Rod Harris inside the 20. A flag is down. And we'll see what the call is. Harris is brought down at about the 16-yard line, and we'll see what the flag is all about. It's at about the 34-yard line.
Well, they're calling a clip. They're saying that Brendan Rogers was clipped, number 35 from Winnipeg, but I want to see that one again because I don't think that he was. You see Maurice Miller trying to plead his case. It looked like to be like a great block. And the rule states that the
illegal block, Sacramento number 97.
I don't know. I think it was a pretty clean block to me.
Maurice Miller is called, and we'll get another look. There it is. That's a clip.
I don't know.
So the good return by Harris is nullified. Sacramento will move it back a bit and take a shot at tying the football game when we come back. Oh, Cal Murphy's steamed on one sideline. He's giving it to an official named James Jackson. He maybe wants him to wear glasses. On the other side, Kay Stevenson's giving it to the officials. Nowhere to hide out there.
That's right. There's no easy side to be on tonight.
See, they switch after each quarter, so you think, well, Murphy's been giving it to me on this side, so then I'll go to the other side. Then Stevenson gives him. That guy is James Jackson, an American official working his first year in the CFL, and he may be learning some new words from Cal.
Looks like he's holding up pretty well, though.
It's like one of those security guards you see who look ahead and never blink. David Archer under 50% tonight. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 252 yards, which you'd describe as, I guess, a moderately good evening. On first down, Archer back over the middle as Keevan Jenkins wide open. Jenkins rumbles inside the 29. Tackle finally made by Donald Smith, but not before Jenkins gets a first down and then some, a gain of 15 yards.
It's a design play by Sacramento. Keevan Jenkins, you just see him on the top of your screen, and then he just slides across. This is to him all the way. Does a nice job of running with the ball. Had those great years in Calgary, but Tony Stewart this year managed to take his job.
Jenkins' forte is receiving the ball out of the backfield. Archer rolling to his right. Got a man open, now throws to the deep corner, and it is Harris for the touchdown. Rod Harris, who had that big punt return a moment ago, taken back by a penalty, makes up for it as he hauls in the pass from Archer and scores the touchdown from 29 yards out.
It's a nice job by Harris to get. Now watch Pruitt cross there. Pruitt actually affects Daryl Sampson. You see Sampson going out of your picture, puts the ball right on the money to Harris. That was a nice read by David Archer. That's exactly how that play's supposed to be designed. If Sampson drops back, he's going to throw it underneath to Pruitt.
I don't know if that was zone coverage or confusion.
It was zone all the way. Yeah.
You see guys running in all kinds of different directions, sometimes just blown coverage. So Anderson to tie it up, and the only kicker in the league to miss a convert this year is good on this one. 28-28 with 11:51 to play in the fourth quarter, and suddenly the Sacramento Gold Miners right back in it. Now, a characteristic of the Gold Miners, especially early on last year, was that they would tend to fold after getting behind. Here they have it.
Now here they're playing pretty well right now, and that's a beautiful pass by David Archer. But also, not only the pass, but it's the read. It shows his experience right there, and he just waited for Daryl Sampson to bite outside, and then he tried to split Errol Brown and Kim Phillips, Rod Harris.
Rod Harris, the first ever All-Canadian from a U.S.-based team.
The leading receiver a year ago, and he was a wideout until Tony Hargain came to this team, and then they put him in at slot, and he's really seems to be more effective inside.
Also had a 102-yard punt return for a touchdown this season, so he's having a big year again. Second-year player from Texas A&M. And Kay Stevenson talks it over with the Sacramento coaching staff. One thing about the Sacramento staff, not much CFL experience. Bill Bradley's there, a former player for the Calgary Stampeders, but the staff made up primarily of Kay Stevenson's coaches from either the Sacramento Surge or NFL team.
Well, I think they learned a lot last year being in the league for the first time. It is a different game, and I think Kay Stevenson initially said about all the motion. He said it's cosmetics, but I think he's learned a lot. He's adopted a lot of the things that the Calgary Stampeders have tried to do with their offense.
Cosmetics work sometimes.
It sure does.
Anderson's kickoff is high and not very deep. Taken by Blaze Bryant at the 30, picking his way upfield. He needed a block. He got to about the 44-yard line, almost broke that one.
Well, Winnipeg are going to start off with great field position. Gives Keith and McCann a bit of breathing room.
You know, with the kickoffs coming from the 35 now, it's amazing You used to see teams starting at the 20 all the time, the 25-yard line. Now teams are disappointed if they start anywhere less than, say, the 35, 40-yard line. You very rarely see the 85-yard drive anymore. Keithan McCant, look at the numbers now. 16 of 27, 238 yards. Remember, his first pass was intercepted, so he's having a pretty decent night.
He is. He's playing very, very well and very poised.
Fake to Bryant. McCant had a man open, but this time he gets dropped by the big defensive tackle, Willie Fears, a former Bomber who puts Keithan McCant on the ground. Leads the team with 4 sacks and now has 5.
And that's the kind of sack that Willie Fears can go into the huddle and thank his secondary, because there was really no one open, and actually McCant makes the right decision here. Don't force anything right now. You're in a tight football game. Don't give Sacramento any breathing space.
And maybe in his first couple of series he does try to throw the ball.
Sure.
Well, the Sacramento Gold Miners have done the job. They're not known as a team that sacks the quarterback much, but they've managed to stop David Archer from getting dropped too much. Again, the fake to Bryant. McCant's on the run right away. Has a man open. Wilcox. Oh, it was almost picked off. That ball hung up a little bit. And jumping over to make the play is Malcolm Frank, the corner. And they don't throw at him very much, and there is a good reason why.
And this play is designed to go to Chris Johnstone, number 25. But, you know, Malcolm Frank baits Keithan McCant. He makes it look as if Gerald Wilcox is wide open, but he's moving in that direction. It's a very tough throw to make down the field.
Frank got burned for a touchdown last week by Damon Allen, who pump faked him. He went for the ball and threw it over his head. One of the few mistakes Frank has made this season. Off camera. Back to punt. And here's Harris again from the 35. Find a seam? Well, a little bit. He gets 4 yards up to about the 39-yard line. 10:28 to play in the fourth quarter. Sacramento and Winnipeg are even at 28. The story brought to you by Dodge Trucks, reinventing the truck. The Bombers scored in their first 2 possessions of the second half. Blaze Bryant has a pair of touchdowns and 92 yards rushing, and Sammy Garza out for this game and perhaps the season. Blaze Bryant has a chance to do something tonight that no Bomber has done this season. Rush for 100 yards in a game, but there they are checking his left knee. Well, that's the last thing they need.
Quite a range of course, but he seemed to come off the field under his own steam, so it didn't seem to be too serious, but obviously there's a concern there.
And the Bombers dressed 2 fullbacks, really. Matt Pierce, the backup running back, isn't a true tailback. First and 10, Sacramento from the Gold Miner 38. Archer has time. Goes to the far sideline. Has Tony Hargeen, who bobbled it a bit but hangs on to make the catch at about the 52-yard line for a Sacramento first down.
Now, Sacramento right now has Winnipeg playing a lot more zone defense, and Winnipeg would much rather play man, but they're obviously concerned right now about the receiving core of Sacramento. They've been able to get deep on them. They've been able to score a few long touchdown passes, so they're going into a defense that they're not really comfortable playing.
Well, it's funny because they very rarely throw to receivers other than Harris or Hargeen.
Really back to man again.
4 receivers to the near side. Archer looking for one-on-one coverage, instead gets 2-on-1 as Trey Everett was streaking down the sidelines. You'll often see that where a team send 4 receivers to one side of the field and then hope to get man-to-man coverage on the short side.
And what they do is they keep Errol Brown, the safety. He's free. He's basically zoned, and he's just watching David Archer's eyes the whole time and trying to react to the throw. He's quite a bit deeper, and he's supposed to help out on the deep throw outside. But good coverage by Kim Phillips, and Errol Brown came across, and of course, there it is again. David Archer paying the price.
Lloyd Lewis
releases the ball.
Lloyd Lewis takes the free shot. 2nd and 10 for the Gold Miners from their own 51. 9.5 minutes to play, fourth quarter. And Archer goes back to the shotgun. Everyone's coming to that side, rolls back to his right. Can't find anyone. That pass might have been to Kay Stevenson. Don't throw to him. He was a quarterback. He was looking for Harris initially, but Harris was well covered. Very well covered, in fact.
A little bit of contact. See Daryl Sampson kind of inviting David Archer to throw him the ball.
Does that work? Gardere back to punt.
Fucking program.
Morris Thomas gets about 6 yards, gets away, and gets about 6 more, all the way up to the 28-yard line. Thomas has looked good on returns. From a school I've never heard of, Wisconsin Lacrosse. I couldn't tell you their team name on a bet. Here's Keithan McCant, the former Nebraska Cornhusker, getting some last-minute instructions. Cal Murphy on the sidelines, and Mike Kelly is the offensive coordinator upstairs. Gotta give some credit to a guy like Mike Kelly, the offensive coordinator. Here's a guy who's got a game plan in place for his quarterback, and now he's got to shorten it down for a guy like Keithan McCant, who hasn't taken many snaps, as you say, hasn't seen defenses before, but he seems to have done a good job of spelling out the offense for McCant, and McCant is executing. First and 10 for the Bombers from their own 28-yard line. Here's Blaze Bryant, who appears to be all right. He gets 3 or 4 yards up to about the 33-yard line.
You know, the other thing is, too, when you think of Sacramento, it's tough for them defensively as well because they know nothing about Keithan McCant. They have not seen him play. They don't know his style. They're preparing all week for Sammy Garza, and they were probably looking at tape of Sammy Garza, obviously the last game, but probably from a year ago as well to see what kind of things he likes to do.
You mentioned before that he's the scout quarterback. I mean, he may know the Sacramento offense about as well as he knows his own. He was running Sacramento's offense all week in practice.
Yeah, he's David Archer.
Game was 5, it's 2nd and 5. McCant over the middle and throws a dart to Gerald Wilcox and makes the grab for the first down. Gain of 8, and Wilcox is shaken up. Well, this has got to end sooner or later. Wilcox is a little on the limp, but appears to be all right.
Again, nice read by Keithan McCant, showing more poise and confidence as the game goes on. He waits and waits and waits until the linebacker clears Gerald Wilcox, and then he drills him the ball.
Wilcox trying to shake off that leg injury on the sidelines. Boyko comes in to take his place. McCant trying to change the play, and it'll be a time count violation as he changed his mind a little too late. So they'll move it back 5 yards and make it 1st and 15, and Wilcox comes back into the football game. Cal will take that. I mean, you're going to have to expect that there's going to be the odd mistake.
Yeah, there's going to be some mix-ups like that because he doesn't know the offense as well. He's not used to changing things at the line of scrimmage right now, and going to take a little bit longer. But one of the things that I've been impressed about Keithan McCant is his patience. A lot of younger quarterbacks, when they get into games, they want to throw on rhythm. It's tough to get out of that. He is out of that. He's not throwing on rhythm. He's waiting. He's taking a look at what's going on downfield and doing a very nice job.
McCant throws it back to Jamie Holland, who gets away from the first tackler, gets away from the second, still going. And Holland finally forced out of bounds at the 34-yard line. But not before he picks up 43 yards. And he undressed Junior Robinson.
Well, Jamie Holland coming into this game only had 10 receptions this year, but he put a great move on Junior Robinson.
That was Jason Wallace, the first man. Then he gets by Junior Robinson.
And then Corian Freeman, the linebacker, has to bring him down.
First down, Winnipeg from the Sacramento 41. McCant wants to go deep. Nobody there. Throws it short and right through the arms of Chris Johnstone.
You know, McCant looked at 5 guys there. That's incredible for a young quarterback. He looked at 5 different people, and then he dumps it off to Johnstone. But you have to give credit to that offensive line. I mean, he has the time to look at 5. If you're lucky to get a chance to look at, come off primary and look at secondary receivers, he had a chance to look at 5 people. Let's take a look at the offensive line. Does a nice job. He's looking right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He might have even looked at 6.
And the 6th guy dropped it. 2nd and 10 for McCant. Was looking for Wilcox, goes the other way to Alford and over his head. And McCant just missed the intended target. So it's a field goal situation for Troy Westwood, who will try one from 48 yards out. Mentioned that Bob Cameron's his holder. Bob Cameron, the only Heck Crichton Trophy winner playing in the Canadian Football League. He won it back in 1977. He says he, of course, held for Bernie Ruoff for a while and then for Trevor Kennard. Then he gets a left-footed kicker. He has to do everything backwards. He says, I've been in this league too long to go changing things. He tried to get Troy to change to being right-footed, but he couldn't do it.
That's why we call him the Donald Trump of Winnipeg. He owns a lot of houses and fixes them up. And very successful.
This is his sideline. Westwood puts it up and good from 48 yards out. And a 3-point lead for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who now lead 31-28 with 6:16 to play in the fourth quarter. Doug Flutie and the Calgary Stampeders take their act to Skydome tomorrow night against the Toronto Argonauts. A game we'll have for you at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And we mentioned earlier that Doug Flutie may not be putting up the kind of numbers he did last year. He's just putting them up in a different way. And it's hard to imagine anyone beating him out for a 4th consecutive MVP award. That team is frightening.
Well, the guy who was on track to do it, I think, was Matt Dunnigan.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's history now.
First down, Sacramento from the 34. Archer looks back to the far side of the field, throws a wobbly pass for Rod Harris, and it falls incomplete, and David Archer picks himself back up from the turf again.
Yeah, Rob Davidson said hello to him once again after he released that pass. Tough pass to throw, rolling out to the right hash and then throwing it deep all the way across the field.
Archer says that the offense that Sacramento has requires a quarterback to hang in there, hang in there. He says when he sees the playlist put together for the week, he just ticks off the plays where he knows he'll get licked.
Tough way to make a living.
I hear the money's good, though.
I think it is for him.
2nd and 10 from the 35. Archer from the shotgun. Pressure again, gets it away, and maybe a second straight completion to Case Stevenson. And second straight time that David Archer is knocked on his wallet.
You know, this might be a case in point where that finger's starting to bother him a little bit. We talked about the dislocated finger on his throwing hand. And whether they froze it before the game, I'm not sure, but maybe that's starting to wear off a little bit now because a couple of his passes have been kind of wobbly, and that's the index finger is the last finger to leave the ball and help put spin on that football.
Kelvin Smith got in for some pressure there, another rookie out of Florida State. But Pete Gardier's been busy in the second half, and Case Stevenson doesn't like to see this too much. 5.5 to play, and Winnipeg gets the ball back with a 3-point lead. Here's Alan Boyko from the 35. Boyko with some room to run, gets up to about the 49-yard line. Tackle is made on the play by Sacramento's Dave Harper. So McCann gets some more last-minute instructions from Matt Dunnigan. Recognition of defense must be the toughest thing for a new quarterback.
That's exactly what it is. It's really differentiating between zone and man coverage right now. A lot of things that Winnipeg might try and do is get people in motion so that he can recognize it earlier before the ball snaps.
What's the easiest thing to tip you off that it's zone or man?
Actually, it's the alignment of the defenders. Actually, the corners in particular, when it's zone, they have a tendency to look into the quarterback. When it's man, they look at the receiver.
When it's a running play, they give it to Blaze Bryant, who goes ahead for a yard before Mark Ledbetter brings him down. Sorry, Jimmy.
But the thing is, they try to disguise it as well. That's why it's very important when the quarterback goes up to the ball that he puts his hands underneath the center right away, because a defense doesn't know when the ball's coming up, and they have to kind of show what they're going to run in their coverages.
There you go.
There you go.
Just asking.
Just telling.
4.5 to play in the fourth quarter, and Chris Walby obscures most of the Winnipeg huddle. And this is where the big guys up front love to see them run the ball and work the clock. They fake the Bryant this time. McCann goes back to Wilcox, standing there all by himself. He's got a first down at the Sacramento 49. Wilcox seemed like he was standing there for 2 or 3 seconds, and that leg really appears to be bothering him.
Gerald makes a nice move going down the field, and it's again zone coverage, so he's just going to find that little soft spot. He just reads it, turns around, and waits. A nice move here to kind of come up and get around, but you can see his leg seems to be bothering him a little bit.
Looked like a guy waiting for the bus. First down from the Sacramento 49. Wilcox stays in. They toss to Bryant, who drops the football. He's a long way back. He's going to throw it. Left-handed, incomplete. Did he call intentional grounding on a tailback?
Call it on anybody.
Because that was intentional grounding. There was nobody close.
If they were trying to run the option, it wasn't going to work because Boyko was working down the field. You can see the pitch out.
Oops.
And I don't know if this is just a good play to actually throw it away, because there's no way he's going to get that ball down the field.
You could tell it was an option play because he was looking downfield instead of at the ball.
That's
when
probably
it was
what's
tossed to him.
happening, sure. But, you know, actually Malcolm Frank did a good job. He didn't bite on it at all. He had Alan Boyko covered.
So it goes an incomplete pass. 2nd and 10 from the 49. Looking over the middle for Boyko. Now they're going deep for Wilcox. He was out of bounds. Ran back in, and the pass falls incomplete. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened had he made the catch. Was he run out of bounds, or did he go out in his own?
Well, that's the question, is whether or not he was forced out. If he is, he can come back in. But if he goes out on his own, he's ineligible.
Take another look. See, Wilcox is already he was at the concession stand.
I think he was just trying to avoid the official. Both those guys. I don't think I've ever seen them go to bounds as far. He kind of shrugs it off.
Instead of trying a 56-yard field goal, Cal Murphy elects to punt, sends Bob Cameron back.
This is a good choice, actually. Try and pin Sacramento back into the shadow of their own goal line.
Averaging 44.1 yards a punt.
And if you get the lucky roll, it could be a point.
It's a bad snap. Woo! Gets it away, and another nice high Cameron kick. Harris from the 6. Nothing. Great special teams play by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Hustling down to help out make the stop, Kevin Robson and Donald Smith. The Bombers lead by 3 with 2:50 to play in the 4th quarter. Team's tackle, the son of former Winnipeg GM Paul Robson, who drafted and traded Jamie Bowen. What did he get for you?
A player to be named later. That's how valuable I was.
Has he been named yet?
I don't think so.
Here's Archer. Gets James Pruitt up at about the 17. Pruitt gets a block and gets loose. Here he goes up to the 28-yard line.
And a smart play by Pruitt to get out of bounds and stop the clock.
A 13-yard gain for Pruitt with 2:31 to play. Lots of time here for Sacramento.
There's a lot of time left with 2:31. Nice little route by James Pruitt. Just kind of sits down, takes the pass. Gets pretty good yardage here, but now he starts to think, hey, I got to get out of bounds. I got to stop the clock. Good heads-up play.
One thing Sacramento was a lot better at this year is using the clock. They used to go to their hurry-up with about 3.5 minutes to play. No need to do that in this league. On 1st down, Archer goes back to the shotgun. As time initially, this is a long throw to the other side. Gets it out there to Tony Hargain, and Hargain gets to the 1st down marker.
And I'm kind of surprised that Hargain wouldn't get out of bounds, but I guess they feel with enough time to on the clock left. Clock continues to run.
An 18-yard pickup, 2:15 to play now in the 4th quarter. Archer, as well as anyone, knows how much time that could be. His team scored 2 touchdowns in 55 seconds to win a game last year. And look at the run now by Mills. Troy Mills breaks through the middle of the line of scrimmage, gets across midfield and all the way down to about the Winnipeg 48-yard line.
And that was a perfect call against that defense. They're playing man underneath. They drop Sampson out and Brown to go deep zone coverage. All the defensive backs are going to turn around with the receivers. When Mills pops it through, there's no one there to make the play.
Gains of 13, 18, and now 21 yards have moved the Sacramento Gold Miners to the Winnipeg 47. The clock running at 1:45. And Archer back to the shotgun. 4 receivers to the near side. Archer gets nailed. Throws it to Pruitt. Almost picked off by Evans. And man, did Greg Clark put the hit on David Archer.
What a shot Greg Clark gave David Archer. They came on a stunt and a blitz. They brought Clark. Just watch David Archer's head. Watch this. Bang. Oh. You know what? If there were no such thing as flak jackets, there wouldn't be any quarterbacks playing in any league anywhere.
They'll be looking for another hotel room near the ice machine tonight. All the orders from room service. Buckets of ice. 2nd down from the 47. It would be a 54-yard field goal if they get no further. And that would appear to be out of the range of Roman Anderson, who was 0 for 1 from outside the 50. Now Ross Perrier talking it over. Is there a problem with the clock? The The Bombers are pointing towards the clock. Apparently everything's in order. It shows 1:37 to play. And they've gone over to check with the official timekeeper to see what exactly the situation is. The clock stays at 1:37. 2nd and 10 from the Winnipeg 47-yard line. Here comes the rush. Archer over the middle, incomplete, looking for Willie Boyer. And a nice defensive play is made by All-Star Bobby Evans. Brings up 3rd and 10. Now what?
Well, they have to go for it. I didn't think it's out of his range. This is a nice job by Bobby Evans because he controls his defensive spot, gives a jam on Boyer, and then when Boyer makes his move, he cuts in front and knocks the ball away.
It's 1:32 to play. You can punt, stop them. If you get a return, you're in instant field goal range. But they're going to go for it on 3rd and 10, and the crowd on its feet. Here comes the rush. Archer with a man picked off. Intercepted by Kim Phillips. He's got a convoy in front of him, and he's thrown out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Kim Phillips with the interception that will seal it for the Blue Bombers with 1:21 to play. At least it should. There was something funny going on at the end of that pattern. Archer didn't like it. The Bombers love it.
Kim Phillips did a nice job of coverage outside. This is a ball that should not have been thrown. It just wasn't there, but the only receiver really in the pattern, he's trying to hit Tony Hargain. Kim Phillips kind of surprised as he turns around, the ball's right in his chest.
First down Winnipeg at the Sacramento 44-yard line. They're close to Westwood field goal range, but more importantly right now they want to burn some time off the clock. Sacramento has given the ball away 3 times in the second half after scoring twice off Winnipeg turnovers in the first. McCann tosses to Blaze Bryant, who is almost out of range.
Whoa. Oof. That could have easily turned into 6 points the other way.
How big must Keith and McCann's eyes have been when he looked in the backfield and there was nobody there to toss the ball to? Oof. And only 4 seconds come off the clock.
Well, there's an injury on the field right now with Sacramento. I believe that's 24, Jason Wallace.
And that will automatically be a timeout charged to the Sacramento Gold Miners. It's one they might have called anyway. So if Winnipeg runs the ball here and doesn't get the first down, the Bombers will have to punt it with or kick the field goal with about 50 seconds remaining. But really the field goal doesn't do them much good.
No.
It would give them a 6-point lead. A touchdown still beats them. It would prevent Sacramento from having a chance to tie. Having a look and see if we can see how Jason Wallace got hurt on this strange toss to Blaze Bryant.
It was almost a forward pass. It's the way he pitched it. He pitched it actually forward. Jason Wallace comes in and gets hurt.
I think he was under the pile initially. Return an interception for a touchdown last week against the Edmonton Eskimos. The first time this season that Sacramento has taken a pick down for a score.
Well, I think you have to be very impressed by the way Winnipeg really rallied around Keith McCann and how he's played tonight. Really has been one of the big stories, especially the expectation level when your third string quarterback comes in. People don't expect a heck of a lot from him. But he put in a good performance tonight.
You see how involved Matt Dunnigan is in tutoring Keith and McCann.
Kay Stevenson looks on. The possibility of them losing 4 straight. Hard to believe one time this season Sacramento were 3-1.
Right, tied for first place. Tough schedule though.
Very
BC,
tough.
Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg, then back to Winnipeg, and then BC.
Well, he'll be glad to see August to go because he will not, if they don't come back and win this game, he'll have not won a game in the month of August. Their next game, I believe, is in early September.
And you know what? They really don't get an easy schedule. They get Shreveport twice coming down the stretch, but their games are against Western teams fighting for playoff spots, and they just don't get a chance to make up ground. So Wallace heads to the bench. There's 1:17 to play. It's second down. Call it 7 yards for Winnipeg. You would think they'll either keep the ball on the ground or throw over the middle to keep the clock running.
They're going to keep the ball on the ground. They're not going to throw the ball.
Yeah?
No, he's going to run.
Here goes McCant. Slips. And down to the 39-yard line. Now, Sacramento cannot stop the clock, so once they place it, and you can bet Winnipeg will milk the clock as best it can.
They'll kick it with probably 52 seconds left.
Now you kick the field goal, right?
Yes. Actually, they're not going to.
Westwood stays on the sidelines. It'll be a Cameron punt.
Now, the only thing I can see Bob Cameron doing, I don't think he's going to try and kick. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think he'll probably try and kick it out of the end zone and get that 1 point. Even though Sacramento will now scrimmage on the 35 after that, it will still force them to score the touchdown.
You're asking Cameron to kick about a 50-yard single.
Well, he's going to angle it and try and get the roll, I think. I don't think he's going to kick it right to Rod Harris. That would be a crazy thing to do.
So it's 3rd and 6. Ross Perrier has not yet blown the play in, and he does now.
I think you'll see Bob Cameron try and punch it to the right side, to the short side of the field, and hopefully get the roll.
But Sacramento will get the ball back with about 45 to 50 seconds to play. And this guy is dangerous. Rod Harris knows how to return the ball. Good snap. They go for the block. Don't get it. High kick by Cameron. Harris will get a chance for the return from the 2. He goes nowhere. Great play by the Winnipeg special team. Ryan Carey gets down to make the stop, and it's a 108-yard field for David Archer and the Sacramento offense with 41 seconds to play.
Well, let's take a look at it, though. Roman Anderson has kicked a 48-yarder this year. That is his longest. So in 41 seconds, it's not out of the realm of possibility. They have to get down to
about the 40-yard
line for a chance. Now, that's the longest, and there is a little bit of a breeze in Sacramento's face. But 41 seconds is a lot of time.
Especially in the hands of a guy who knows what he's doing. Now remember, Sacramento does not have a timeout. But the Gold Miners do have a long way to go.
But see, now's a situation where David Archer should call 2 plays in the huddle. So he doesn't even have to worry about doing any audibles or any of those kind of things. If they get out of bounds, fine, they can huddle up again because the clock will stop, or if it's incomplete. But if they complete it over the middle or the ball stays in bounds.
I'll be stunned if Rod Harris doesn't get most of the passes thrown his way. He's lined up to the near side of the field. From the shotgun, Archer will have the goalpost to contend with if he takes a step to his left. He's under pressure. He's not down yet. Completes it to Mills. Mills is not going anywhere. Linebacker Kelvin Smith brings him down, not out of bounds. So the clock will run as soon as they place the football. That pass is good for maybe 3 yards, but Archer did a nice job avoiding the safety.
They would have had to give up the ball as well, and that would be the most important thing. That they kick it off if he the safety. Or David Archer showing some athleticism.
Clock is running at 30 seconds. There's confusion now in the Sacramento backfield, and precious seconds are wasting.
Way too long, way too long.
Maybe a gain of 3 that last one, but it means nothing. Now Archer over the middle has a man. It's Willie Boyer, and Boyer is up to about the 23-yard line. 15 seconds to go.
And you know, they wasted a good 12 seconds there, Gord. That's why we're talking about having 2 plays called in the huddle. You just come out and it's on first sound.
Perrier will set the ball to play in, does so now. Archer back quickly. 10 seconds to play, can't find anyone open. Still looking for someone, throws it short. But Tony Hargain makes the catch, still only a gain of 7 yards, 5 seconds left. They've got time for one more play, and it'll have to be a shot to the end zone, and if David Archer can throw the ball 80 yards, they're welcome to it. Winnipeg by 3. Sacramento will not have time, you wouldn't think, to get a field goal attempt off. They've got to get at least to the Winnipeg 40.
I'm amazed at how tight Kim Phillips is playing on the wide side of the field.
No time left on the clock. And now we've got another referees conference. Timeout Winnipeg.
Well, they want to get Norris Thomas in the game as the 6th or 7th defensive back. But now you see everybody backing way off. Kim Phillips is back. Errol Brown is back about 30 yards. You've got Donald Smith. He's on the 40-yard line.
Wow. Looks like they're going to receive a punt. That's a prevent defense. So it'll be a 3-man rush. No time on the clock. Last play of the football game. Maybe a little hook and lateral, or what do you think?
That's how Sacramento practiced out there. We were out there a few weeks ago. They put all the receivers to one side and they try to isolate Troy Everett on the back side. See if that's what they try and do.
Well, they go to Hargain. He's got someone to lateral to. Oh, he couldn't find him. He's brought down to the 42-yard line in the final play of the game, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lose their starting quarterback, but win the football game 31-28. Keithan McCann, in his first CFL game, directs his team to a come-from-behind victory.
He has to be very, very pleased at his performance, and I think Cal Murphy would have to be ecstatic right now. Keithan McCann, now he has kind of that little strut. You know, he's very confident as he walks across the field. Feels great to get his first CFL game in under his belt.
So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers roll continue. It's 5 in a row, and they strengthen their grip on first place in the East with a 31-28 win.